fast, life moving in slow-mo. I'm a god, but I actually don't know. Homie, better put your pride aside. I'm a Benz, get more like a Volvo. Your best stuff looks like my words. Synapses, fire, and burst. Got the whole crew with me, about to do damage. You know we ain't average. I ain't gonna say this again, but it's in my time. Better look in my eyes. I'm a genius in the skies with my heart on my sleeve. And you force you a block to a king in his prime. Everybody got a line. Sit back with the stars in line. I finesse like my life on the nine. Was a diamond in the rough, and now I shine.
No one could stop us, they'll try,
Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to the LTA South English stream. Thank you guys so much for being here. I am FourY4. That is Rev, and we are ready to kick off split number 3, I guess it is technically called. FourY are the reigning champions on the LTA South stream right now. They are lifting their trophy. They're putting it back down, saying, if you want it, come take it from us. Their first challengers, Rev, are Fluxo W7M. Now, this is not because the LTA South organizers were like, that's going to be a banger headline matchup to do day one. No, it's because of the strange split 3 format we have where the first place team from last split plays against the last place team from last split. Now, the funny part is, look, this should be a 2-0 for FourY, but the last time these two teams played, Fluxo W7M actually beat them, but FourY were very, very ill that time. So, it could be interesting here, and FourY and Fluxo have made some roster changes as well.
I mean, they could be this time as well. There had been some strange circumstances. Yes, FourY did go to MSI. They had some good performances, albeit they did come up with some disappointing results. Thing is, they had to leave early. There have been rumors of other LTA South teams staying there more and having actually more time to scrim with all those better teams that did go and visit Vancouver. And also, you know, there's also the fatigue. You did fly back home to Brazil earlier, but have you had time to just rest and then restore your prior form? On the other hand, Flaxo just had time to change the roster and trying to build themselves up back again from scratch, maybe keeping a step or two from the previous split, because they did indeed improve a lot by the end of the split.
Yeah, no, they were absolutely heading in the right direction. And look, Fluxo W7M, ever since kind of they announced this new partnership where like the roster was supposed to be one thing and then they got bought out by a new org, and but then like they're splitting the, you know, the actual franchise slot. But to be fair, this marriage has lasted longer than Isurus Estral has. We'll get to that at another time. They're out of divorce court, so it is just Isurus. But yeah, Fluxo W7M, look, they've made some roster changes, and I absolutely do think for the better. In the support position, for me, that's just by far the biggest upgrade. You see Marvin right there, still the same AD carry, but Pro Delta, he's going to be his new support. Giggs was his support, came up from Pain Academy together, and Giggs, look, again, just trending in the right direction, but simply was not cutting the mustard. Marvin, very, very skilled. If he can get a little bit more of a stable presence down in there in that bot lane, and that is what Pro Delta has proven he can be. He's not coming off the greatest of splits for him, but this should be an upgrade. Man, you see right there on your screen, that's Fu, superstar mid laner. He's got a bright future ahead of him. He's going up against Tuts, probably the most consistent player last split. And another update they made in the jungle was Yampy, a guy who was kind of the model of consistency as far as, you know, can you take this team and just raise the floor? That's the man you see on your screen right there. But he is coming off an absolutely brutal split in the CD, the second tier. He came in 10th, had to fight for relegation into tier 3. He avoided it, which is good, but it was not great.
I mean, the greatest of players have the worst of splits as well. You know, you can judge a player by just one split, but it's not the greatest thing when you want a very reliable, experienced player for your team, and that player comes off of the worst split of his career. Surely doesn't fill you, you know, with trust. But we don't know what the coaches know. Maybe Ashi and Sami have seen some stuff. Of course, they've been screaming a lot. For sure, there have been tryouts. I'm not sure if anyone will ever, you know, buy a player or loan a player just on name value. But we're here. Draft 1 already started. A lot of mid lane bans from the side of FourY.
Yeah, they recognize, and I think rightly so, that Fu is the best, most consistent player on this team. He's the guy that's shown it the most recently at the highest level. A lot of these guys, like you kind of joked about, on name value, some good pickups. But as far as the recent success, it simply hasn't been there. But this roster, I'm a bit bummed that it's not going to be something that we're going to see kind of for more than one split, because there obviously will be change between 2025 and 2026. If they're not, I don't know, I'll give a charity of your choice a little bit of money. But immediately grabbing the Akali for food. Looking to make a statement here in this best of three.
Mm.
Azir Trundle is going to be the combo on the other side.
I mean, an early Akali is always a statement, right? Because yes, you see
Yeah.
your mid lane matchup, it's a fine matchup for Akali. After like level 5 to 6, you do have a lot of kill pressure, but it doesn't mean that the rest of the team will not be built around having a lot of reliable crowd control just to make sure that it's not it. You will never be able to engage. The maleliness of your character will not be punished. But as long as you're trying to do the Kali, maybe you get punished by the rest of the team because there's so much utility already from Flux to W7M. Ash, with all those slows, or the Enchanted Crystal Arrows, and the double or even triple Cyclone, can actually create the distraction that Fu will need to try and deal with the enemy backline.
I think you kind of hit the nail right on the head, right? It's distraction. How much can you just wave the sign over here? Ooga booga, no, don't look over there. Don't look at the shroud. Don't try to guess where our Akali is. You've got Enchanted Crystal Arrow to deal with. You've got slows to deal with. You've got, like you said, the double or even triple Cyclone to deal with. The Trundle not looking like he's going to get a ton of value right now out of his ultimate, but look, it's either that or you ult somebody and deal true damage to them. That's the other side of the coin. Another addition for Fluxo W7M, in the top lane, they've replaced Hedon with Curdy. Now, Curdy, he's someone that actually wasn't even playing last split. Last year, he was on Loud Academy and was a guy that had a really high mechanical ceiling during like the peak Cassante days. He was having those 1v9 Cassante copy pasta moments. So the mechanical skill is there, but again, not exactly the model of consistency. So, and I worry with someone like that, look, if you're being placed into a last place team, even though I think this team with huge upgrades in jungle and support will not finish last this year, I think they might even, I think the absolute, and before anybody else let me, absolute ceiling for them is top 4. They will not make top 4, but everything has to break right for them. But I worry what they're going to, the amount of responsibility they're going to give to Curdy early on. As this draft kind of goes on and on and on, you kind of see, look, you've picked your bottom lane, you've picked your mid lane, right? You go jungler on R4, and you're probably leaving that counter pick for him on R5.
Well, we'll see. Maybe the Akali is a flex as well. Let's not forget that she used to be a top lane champion, although we haven't seen that in quite a while. But I don't know. I've seen RMC being quite a big Prodels fan. I never was. I feel like this guy is the epitome of being unstable in his gameplay. You can't really rely on him ever if you want a very, very common, 6 to 7 performance. You never want a 10, you never want a 3. Prodels is the guy you should never look at. You'll get influenced immediately. But you right now on Fluxo W7M have quite a group of people who you don't know what to expect from, right? And maybe that's the essence of this team as well, because last time we had a group of 5 level misfits. They were having fun as they were losing, and they were slowly yet surely improving every game. Now, if you're having higher ceilings and you can apply the same principles of, guys, we need to focus up, we need to lock in, and slowly yet surely improve, maybe you're building some great foundations for the next season.
I think that's the hope, right? If nothing else, this might be just a tryout for 2026, right? Like you say, okay, we're going to continue this, this org. We're going to continue with some of you guys, right? I think some of these guys, unless they get bought out, like Fu, he's going to have a job next split no matter what, right? Pro Delta, I think, will have a job next split no matter what. He's still carrying over enough goodwill from that MVP season in 2024. But the rest of the guys, I think it's an audition. It will be the Aurora on the other side. So a lot of magic damage here in these 2 solo lanes. How do you see this Aurora-Gwen matchup going? Especially, I mean, give me it in theory, and then into Gigo specifically. That could be a tall task here. Welcome to the league, buddy.
I mean, it can be a tall task, but it really depends on what's the lessons that Gigo carried over from MSI. His performance versus Broken Blade, chef's kiss, fantastic. the rest of the games in MSI, I really don't want to talk about it. He kind of fell off of there. You were talking about it in the podcast as well, that we were long overdue for some Gigon performances, but there they are. Like they appeared, and now you're coming back, and you might be suffering from all that international jet lag. The matchup should be fine. You should be struggling in the first, 10 minutes of the game, and then suddenly you're 1.5 items strong. The Aurora will look to teamfight. You're going to be looking to snipping down the turrets and propelling yourself 1,500 gold over the enemy top lane, and then you're unstoppable. That's the champion. She's useless until she's not. So I very much will be looking at that 25-minute marker where Giga will have to find a great entrance, a flank in the fight, and just make sure that the Ash will curse the day that she was created as the new mobile champion.
Yeah, and she's gonna be really the only target you can reliably snip down, right? Fu on the Akali can, he'll have his fancy feet. He will be able to keep himself relatively safe. And I think those team fights are going to be really interesting to watch if we get to 20 minutes, 25 minutes at an even gold state. I don't think we will. But if we do get there, then you're really going to see, okay, how much have Fluxo W7M really scrimmed, right? It's almost an unfair sort of thing. Okay, how good is your cohesion against this roster that has stayed together, gone to MSI together, gone to a tournament which shall not be named together, and had a ton of experience playing against a lot of really, really good teams? Now you've got an absolute gauntlet laid down in front of you. Yampy versus Tatu, two guys that have, Tatu having the rookie split from heaven. He's going to run away with Rookie of the Year unless something goes horribly, horribly wrong. Yampy back in the big time for the first time in a while, played on that INTZ roster in 2023 that made us all believe in the power of dreams and friendship with the coach, Aoshi, back on it, back in the big time as well. He coached Loud for kickoff split. Did not work at all. They got rid of him. They got rid of Wiz. They got rid of Winsome. They just completely nuked that split one roster. But Aoshi, he's a guy, again, with a lot of goodwill in the bank, and this could be the roster that I think he could really shine with, right? You've got a couple of veterans in the more macro-focused positions of jungle and support, and then you can, just develop the younger talent.
I mean, you actually had some great analysis over there, but all I could think is nuking the whole roster in my LTA South more often than you think. But yeah, I'm looking forward to see all the team fights, because on the one hand, you do have like a lot of team fight tools like the Azir, the Rakan. We could see huge wombo combos that would enable even Gigo to just appear in the team fights, go the full. I like to call it AP lethality build, which is just go flat penetration, go play like an assassin, and use the needlework through the team fight, and make sure that the enemy team can never play the game. But where's your front line? Who are you face checking with? Can a Trundle just survive later in the game, especially when lately the build has been a little bit more aggressive? I've seen a lot more Trinity Forces. I've seen all those Divine Sunder or Sundered Skies, whatever they call these days. I'm just an old guy nowadays, just like Yampy, and try to skirmish his way through victory.
Well, I think both these compositions, right? You've got the Alistar with an ult. Sure, that's a valid front line, but without the ult, you are brisket, is what you are. You have no defensive uptime. For the Trundle into the Wukong, right? These compositions are going to be playing pretty similarly, and like you said, I like the flat pren, right? For Gigo, do you rush, Riftmaker maybe, right? But eventually you got to get that Shadow Flame, and that's going to be a huge spike, right? Once you get like that flat pen in, Gigo should be absolutely unstoppable. I really do think that we've kind of alluded to this in a couple different ways. The only thing that'll stop Gigo is Gigo. It will be his macro decision making. That, because this dude, again, he's won MVP before in the past. He's a 3-time CBLOL champion, or CBLOL. He's a 3-time. No, he's a 2-time CBLOL champion, 1-time LTA South champion. Last time I'll do that, I promise. But this matchup in the mid lane, if you've been an LTA South fan for these last couple years, I think. Holy sh!
Hello,
Curdy.
Hello. Where's Gigo?
Holy. Welcome to the league, Curdy, announcing himself with the first kill of the split, a solo bolo on the most dynamic player on Furia's roster. Well done, kid.
Not just solo bolo, didn't spend the summer. Look at the CS discrepancy in the top lane. I was thinking about maybe the lane being difficult. Ayu has flash.
And now, Ayu's got a flash immediately. Cleanse blown as well. Marvin flashing forward. Pro Delta leading the charge here on the Alistar. Getting a couple more autos into the back of JoJo and just volleying his way into a fantastic trade as 4 summoners blown here, for 3 to be fair, but taking them out of the lane. Marvin and Pro Delta. Fluxo W7M playing fearlessly.
Fearlessly is just an understatement at this point, because they're playing like a completely different base from last split. I know what they've been feeding those players, but that wasn't the lane dominant Pro Delta we've seen last split. He wasn't lane dominant at all. And now, look at him forcing out 3 summoners for the cost of 3 in the end of the day. But let's see the solo ball as well, as Gigo has been eating so much poke, and that E, just clinical.
Oh, that's good stuff, man. That makes me really, really happy. Max range on that and making good on that R5. And now JoJo says, all right, Ayu, you can handle yourself here. I've got some babysitting to do up on the top. Oh, wait, no, Ayu came with him. Apologies. They just swapped out of that, opting completely out of the rest of that matchup. That makes me laugh. That's very funny to me. Tuts, meanwhile, taking the business end of a couple of trades. Like you said, the meleeness of this champion, yeah, definitely not being punished just yet. But yeah, looking really good so far here. But man, Curdy, and like you said, Rev, it wasn't just the solo kill; it was the CS discrepancy, just the
Mm.
massive range advantage that he has. As now the bottom lane gonna resume their shenanigans up in the top lane. JoJo taking again just a bunch of rough trades, as Marvin feeling really good about things so far here.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that Prodollar right now is cursing the moment he didn't go for the electrocute. Because, yeah, as the whatever Unseal spellbook is pretty good in this meta state, but you've seen the build, I suppose, right? The Mage Cow, where you go electrocute, your first item is a Zhonya's Hourglass, and you're trying to new components with all that early game burst. He's dealing so much damage himself.
No, he really is. And now, I mean, yeah, your brain goes to that. I have actually not seen that build. I have not
Oh,
seen the Mage Cow, but now I really want to. I
I've
would love
played
it.
it. I've played it. It's such free OP until I don't know low masters. If your team can actually pick up the slack in the mid game, because after a point you can really face check as well, unless you have your
Yeah.
ultimate. But if
Yeah,
the enemy
exactly.
face checks, oof, you've seen an AD carry lose half of their HP immediately, and that's the fun part.
No, but it's like you said, if you have a team worth its weight in salt that can play somewhat cohesively, tough in solo queue, but
Mm.
then you can just play around your ultimate, and all of a sudden you are unstoppable, like you said. But man, Marvin and Pro Delta, yeah, I mean, put an absolute clinic in right now. Fluke W7M up 500 gold. But look, this is the thing about Gigo and especially Gwen as a champion, right? Yes, you've been put down here early, but it's like you said in Draft Rev, this champion is useless right up until the point where she becomes a raid boss. So that is still absolutely a possibility. It'll come down to team fight positioning, and that is where you're going to see what Fluxu W7M is really made of, right? I mean, even
Yeah.
when we preview this team in draft, there's no real doubt about the individual skill of some of these players, right? Especially someone like Curdy. Okay, he's got a solo kill in him, right? I wasn't expecting in this game, but it's not
Mhm.
surprising to me, right? What we're really going to learn about this team is at that 2025 minute mark.
I mean, I'll be looking a little bit deeper than that as well because okay, you might be good in team fights, you might be good at creating space, setting up neutral objectives, whatever, getting those skills, but can you convert them? How many times, especially internationals, and I'm bringing again international because they're very fresh to mind, right? MSI, random tournaments around the world, I don't know how they're called. We've seen teams go against theoretically greater teams, not just better, but greater teams than them, and have excellent early games. But what can you do after that? Can you actually play perfect macro? Can you punish a team that knows how to defend? Can you close out games? Because this has proven way harder than other times, and just individual skill and goal lead alone doesn't cut it anymore.
No, no, it really doesn't. And I think you bring up even like an interesting point about the bar kind of being raised for Brazilian teams after what FourY was able to do. Again, it's a results based business, and at the end of the day, results wise, they haven't really achieved more than any other team. But if you watch the games and you see, you talk about the as much as I hate doing this, the moral victories of you took G2 to 5 games, you took GAM to 5 games, and you just puked all over yourself in game 5 twice as Tatsu able to hit Pro Delta with a pillar here, able to got the
Mhm.
subjugate as well. Ayu, nice deadly flourish from the other side, and that will be a
Oh,
kill. Very nicely done. But Ini comes with the Shurima shuffle. Tuts able to take Fu and Yampy into a rough position, but gotta sacrifice JoJo. Maybe? No, he'll be able to get out of there. The Grub's still alive. Yampy in and right back out there with the Wukong.
and it was just a slight miscalculation as Jojo. Having access to that quickness is so important when Pro Delta hasn't have access to his own unbreakable will. That means that his champion is way less effective, way less slippery, and can just be a prime A5 Wagyu beefsteak
Mm.
just for the taking.
Ooh, Curdy with the Between Two Worlds. He's low on mana.
Oof.
Giga with the Needle Storm. Needlework, excuse me. Not able to find its mark. But Curdy still had the flash. So I think if, he probably was safe there, but keep him honest. As Curdy got himself into another fight to the death here. If this is anything, any proponent of what's to come, I think we are in for a rock fight between these two top laners, and I hope that because this is another thing that is kind of the book on Curdy is when carries are in the meta, which they are right now. Curdy
Hmm.
could be a fantastic pickup, but again, the consistency when he plays things like the tanks, it's just having that sixth sense of hey, I'm not the superstar right now. I'm not going to be the center of attention right now. That is going to be something to watch as his arc goes on. And even though carries are in the meta, look, we're still in Fearless, right? This kid will play a best of 5 Fearless at some point. This is a best of 3 now, but he will have to play your Orns and stuff
I
down the
mean,
line. But right now, not an issue.
is Keres in the meta for the top lane, or have we just seen LCK and LPL play? That's my question always, because always I'm so excited, like, okay, finally, we're going to see some other regions play carries in the top lane and trying to play the game around that. No more just two beefsteaks in the front trying to initiate fights. And always after like 2 weeks, we're back to the Ornn, we're back to the Scion. If you're being a good boy, you're going to get your Renekton B1 just once per week.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Renekton is immortal. That crocodile will never die. Praise be unto him. Yampy going to start up this dragon right now. First dragon of the game, actually, first at 10 minutes now. FourY did have taken all 3 of those grubs, so not exactly an objective trade. As the bottom laners move to the mid lane, top laners move to the bottom lane, the mid laners move to the top lane. Just how League of Legends is played at home, which was the goal all along. As Curdy and Gigo getting things going again, resuming their blood feud in the bottom lane. Dragon goes down, plates go down. Yeah, Curdy building himself up a pretty solid lead here. Gigo, I mean, I don't know how many turret plates he's actually gotten, but I think looking at the 5s across the board there, doesn't look like any as Marvin able to sidestep that deadly flourish. Yampy was there ready with the follow-up. FourY, again, they lost this team, a different version of this team. I would say a weaker version of this team. Last time these two teams met in 3 games. But FourY looking cleaner so far, but they have yet to have that one big team fight, but we know they have them in them, Red.
I mean, right, the difference is not that big, right? There's barely any goal difference, and yeah, we see an individual one in the top lane, but there's also like not a huge spike. Components are fine early in the game, but when are you gonna fight? The next Drake still needs 4 minutes. The Rift Herald still needs 3. Are you gonna be setting up for that? Are you gonna be just abandoning the Rift Herald because you need some individual spikes? And if there's even 1k gold lead, let's say for Fluxo, is it gonna matter if it's just gonna be an amplifying tome or two? Because I don't see it mattering that much. Seeing the previous teamfight, the only teamfight we had the game, FourY came out pretty strong.
Yeah, they looked all right, right? It wasn't a stomp by any stretch of the imagination, but it did seem like it was Fluxu fighting into FourY. FourY looked in control as the Trinity Force comes in on Tatu. Now he's on even footing with his opposite number. No objectives to fight over just yet. But looking ahead, Rev, like you said, both of these both of these compositions are going to be fighting very, very scrappily. And it looks like, I mean, look, the Trinity Force is not necessarily a harbinger of things to come, but both these champions, the Trundle and the Wukong, they're going to be building kind of similarly, right? Triforce into Sundered Sky.
Yep.
You can see that for both of these champions. So the fights are going to play out in a similar sort of way, aside from what we said about Fu essentially counting on his boys to be distractions. How else? What else are you looking for in these team fights as they go along?
I mean, I think I'm looking at some pickings from the side of FourY because, you do have similar building champions in the jungle, but I don't think they're pretty similar in how they want to execute. Oh, nice. Ult over there. Does Fu have he has an ultimate. It's fine. He has 15,000 dashes, that champion. Extremely unfair, but yeah.
And he bought one in the shop a little while ago.
And no flash needed. Yeah, right? Who needs to spend Summoners to dash 1,500 units? Anyways, I'm not salty at all. As I was saying, like there are champions who want to do completely different things, right? One can pick up in the air 5 individual champions on the other side, twice, bonk them, a lot of damage, a lot of crowd control. The other is kind of, hey, I hate you in particular. You have no resistances, and you're slow. Then I can fight you with my club forever. So this paired with the Jhin, I think you can just isolate the champion, make sure that you're playing with a numerical advantage, and then you can take it from there. Then you can see what you do. Will Gigo be a threat? Will Toots have the space and time to set up his army and start doing some things? It really depends on a case-by-case scenario. On the other hand, you do have so much engaged, so much space control with Pro Delta, with Curtin, he's in between worlds, Yampy, and even Marvin. Like, you can only stun one person, but the slows, if you manage to secure a couple of volleys, they can be so disruptive in team fights when movement speed matters so much for champions like the Gwen, like the Trundle. So I'll be looking at them to try and facilitate 5v5 team fights. Even if you try and isolate one, you really are looking for a big engage.
Yeah, I think that what I was you kind of got to what I was thinking, which I mean, when you think when there's a composition with a Wukong in it, right? You think zone control, right? How much space can you create for the rest of your team? And then Curdy, obviously with the Between Two Worlds, big zone control. As Gigo's actually gone with the Proto Belt, so he's taken a page out of your book there, Rev, going with just a flat pen again. I still want to see that Shadow Flame come in at some point. Patch 2514, yeah, the Haunting guys. Okay, yeah, so you can't stack the Haunting guys anymore. It's where they're bringing back the unique passive without bringing back the unique passive. Gwen does happen to be immune. Now the Between Two Worlds popped. Curdy going to use that as an escape vessel, and again the needlework not going to find its mark. So both these champions not going to have their ultimates available. Is Curdy going for the flash Q? That would have slowed him? Question mark. Maybe he would have gotten a follow up with that. The flash seemed a little bold there, but now Streamer Shuffle coming in hot. Fu able to get out of trouble again. Who needs flash? Who needs Proto Belt? You've got R1 and you still got R2.
I remember that everyone would snag about Cassante doing the same thing. Where there's a fight.
Yeah, we do have a fight, and now the curtain call coming in over the top. Marvin trying to get in there and body block a little bit. Ayu's abandoned his ultimate, going to try to go forward. TP coming in hot now, and it is a 5v4 as Gigo going to be a little bit late to the fight. He's throwing down the pings there. He wants a big old flank into the back line. He goes, or into the front line, excuse me. Guy thought he was going to take a much bigger flank there. Able to get onto Pro Delta, kind of, not really. Two big teleports blown. Atakan still not started up. Yeah. No, there was no Atakan, actually. It didn't even spawn yet. I just assumed that if they were fighting up there, there would be an Atakan. But nope, it'll be the Herald. Valuable prize still.
Yeah, very valuable, especially if you're looking to open up that mid lane tier 1 turret and try then to pry open the entrances to the enemy jungle. But that was a weird fight just because a lot of ultimates were used preemptively, right? Fu, no perfect execution, no Emperor's Divide. The top laners both used their teleport just moments ago. And that's why it was kind of weird for me that Gigo actually did opt into teleporting in as the fight was already fizzling out. You could have so much time alone the bot lane. Yes, no plates, but Gwen known to deal with turrets very, very easily, and that could have set up a huge pressure point for Furia. But Furia just want to prove that they're better, they have better hands, and they can just fight Fluxo whenever they stand.
Yeah, again, we still haven't seen a big old team fight. It's still 1-1 between these two teams. And I think, look, again, you talk about moral victories. This has got to feel good for Fluxo so far, right? That you haven't just, puked all over yourself, but it's all about converting, right? The mid game is where champions are truly made. Ooh. Oh, he didn't abandon the ultimate. I didn't even see Marvin just point blank ulted him. I did think it was a little weird that IU kind of backed out of that ultimate, right? He saw the TP, but that wasn't enough to back out. And I thought Gigo was going to, because there was an on my way or an assist ping coming down almost near Gromp. Near red side Gromp. And so I thought there was a ward there that I couldn't see. But instead, Gigo, like I said, like you said, it was a little bit weird. I think that was it must have been a defensive teleport, right? I mean, just say, okay, we're not going to die here. Jojo, he'll get exhausted, but he does lay down the CC with the quickness. Ultimate up again here for IU. Going to lay down some shots, not to any avail, though. Again, still no objectives to fight over, but they do get their first tower of the game in that bot side, and you're still holding on to the Herald. Like you said, Rev, that's probably going mid lane tier 1. You've got to open up this map to let Gigo start to, go on his solo adventure.
Yeah, bittersweet fight from the side of Furia. Very nice pressure from Tatu and Gigo. They got so much chunk from Fu. They could take the tower without any... not Gigo, sorry, from Tuts. Without any opposition from the side of Fluxo W7M, but on the other hand, Jojo overestimated how quickly can his team arrive or how tanky his champion is. Ends up going down, donates 300 gold to Marvin as well, and Marvin should feel very, very happy considering that he's gonna go to the on-hit build. He needs those items to start dealing some proper damage.
Curdy having no problem dealing proper damage. We'll hop into his portal, get the heck out of dodge, but Furia now kind of executing their mid-game battle plan here, Rev. And again, still holding on to that Rift Herald. IU is alone in the mid lane, but Fu making something happen on the other side of the map. Good awareness by he's not even a rookie anymore. This is his third season. But he's starting to play more and more like a veteran. I'm again endlessly fascinated to see where his career ends up. He's been stuck on bottom teams basically his whole CBLOL career. Would love to see him on a team with a little more infrastructure. But maybe Fluxo W7M is that team with a little more structure this time around. You've got a proper
Yep.
coach now. You've got experience in these more supportive positions. This could be something that surprises us all here, but they've got a tough challenge ahead of them in this best of 3 to open up the split. Again, this is the first of 3 stages in stage 3 right now. The schedule is very
Yeah.
confusing. I kind of know it, but I'm not going to try to recite it here for you. Go watch an explainer, and you can get it with a
Ooh.
little more confidence. Oh man, fantastic Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Gonna leave Tuts in a pretty rough spot here. He will invest the ultimate, but I don't think he knows
Oh,
the Yami
Yampi.
is right there. Very nicely done. And now the Feats of Warfare actually picked up there by Fluxo, so they will be the first ones to that.
Yep, and they are top when Herald is top. They could try and pressure that, at least fake pressure it. But right now they're looking to regain control of the side lanes, having Fu just farm up, deal some damage so that's the top tier 1, or maybe threaten the enemy team to pull them from the mid lane and not allow them to have a free Herald. Very nice pickup from Flaxo, that arrow from Warvin. The American sniper, at least the South American sniper,
There you
hitting
go.
from far.
Yeah, it still doesn't feel like they've got kind of this, they don't have the stranglehold on the game yet, right? Like you said, you get these
Yeah.
little advantages, but I think to be fair, if the kill had been onto Tatu, they might just go on that Atakan immediately, right? That objective is sneaky hard to take, and I think teams are finally becoming wise to just how difficult it is to take. We're getting another replay here. Marvin with another fantastic Enchanted Crystal Arrow. I don't know how much vision they actually had there, right? You see the blue ward there, but as far as a red ward, that was an educated guess, it seemed like.
Sometimes those pro players just know more things than we do, right? And
That's
right
weird.
now,
Weird how that works.
yeah, when you play 17 hours the same game, right? And have a coaching staff and have better
Yeah.
fingers. And, anyways, thing is, right now I'm looking at FourY4. I really like their previous 5 approximate minutes where they tried to pressure all of the towers. That's the G2 strat when you can't pry open the game from early on. You're trying to do swaps and just one up the enemy team, right? They did one up them. They got 1 extra tower. Now they only have to deal with the mid lane. And look at the timer. It's very close to the Drake spawn. So that's very, very nice from them. I'm just looking to see if they can continue that cleanly, if they can right now go and take control of the enemy jungle entrances to try and coerce the teamfights that they're trying to coerce for the last 10 minutes. Go for the teamfights, not for the picks.
They've broken open the map finally, but you talk about the last 5 minutes for FourY4, right? What they've been trying to do. I've been impressed with Fluxo as well because they haven't taken anything lying down. Again, in the team fights is where we're going to see kind of what these teams are made of. But I'll be honest, Rev, especially with a composition like this, maybe because of a composition like this, where you have a solo laner that can get stuff done, Kurdi and Fu in the side lanes, right? You're not sticking Fu on Galio, which is my least favorite thing that the coaching staff does. Fu able to zone Gigo out of this. Dragon taken pretty much solo. Now the TP coming in over the top for Fu. He will join this fight. Now the curtain call dropped there, but Fu getting into the back line, able to flash away. Not going to get hit by the deadly flourish. Atakan still up there. Jojo goes down. Yampi grabbing himself a kill. They are getting low, but FourY4 is low as well. And Fu, he is the distraction. He doesn't need distractions. He is the danger, Skylar. As the Atakan goes down, Tatu taken very, very low. And Fu and company getting their first real win of this game, Rev.
Yeah, Fu throwing the pitch on the roof over there, having so much pressure, not allowing IU to complete the ultimate, not allowing Gigo to enter the fight, and now Kurdi. Look at the damage just with the Q.
Man, yeah, no, he is doing a ton of damage right now. Got the Bloodletter's Curse as well, and now the towers are all even, 3-3. Thank you for picking up the reference I was throwing down there. And they've got nothing else to grab right now. But Rev, they're in a really good spot right now. At 25 minutes, up 2,000 gold, up a dragon, even on towers, got the Feat of Warfare, got the Atakan, right? Just flat, great stats. And look, it's still a 2,000 gold lead. FourY4 can turn this on its head very, very quickly. And this is still a best of 3. But what a debut here for Fluxo W7M and the new players that they brought in.
No, I mean, even if they end up losing, even if from this point onwards they just, chuckle over themselves, this is already a huge win because this has been the most organized I've ever seen Fluxo.
Absolutely.
From the moment I spent, from the moment I joined the LTA South. Look at Foot. Look at that patience. He knows where he needs to be. He knows when to flash away, playing with space, allowing his team to deal with the extra nuisances. And this is a well-oiled machine so far. And maybe not the cleanest of macro, but not every new team can start winning immediately.
No, I mean this looks really, really good, right? Like you said, it hasn't been perfect, and not like FourY4 have done anything wrong either, but they haven't been able to exert their will. And I think again, this is just it's good enough macro from Fluxu W7M, and I don't know who that's coming from. I don't know who the new shot caller is supposed to be. I imagine it's supposed to be Yampy, and if I was a betting man, which I am, not on esports because I get paid by Riot for translation work for Valorant, so employers, please don't yell at me. I'm not betting on esports. That being said, I would bet that Yampy, that's essentially why he got brought in. He's a veteran voice. This team needed direction, right? And I think that's what we talked about on the podcast, and I think you would agree. That was kind of the biggest gripe with Fluxu W7M is you see some glimmers of brilliance every now and again individually, but sort of like Leviathan, the team just looked absolutely directionless, right? It's like, okay, you've got these good things. Let's try to channel them into something constructive. And they could not. They were never rowing in the same direction.
Yeah, I mean, the difference is day and night so far. And now is exactly where I need them to shine, right? Because this, so far, is the heavy quotation marks easy part. You can actually know how the team fight. You can know how to play better. You can know how to catch the enemy by surprise. But can you actually do something with all that lead? You got control so far, but Georgia, nice engage.
Pretty good engage here between two worlds comes out, and a nice Shurima shuffle will deliver a kill into the pocket of Tatu. But now a kill on the other side as the Mage Cow. Not exactly, but he will pick up a kill there on the Tuts. He got a little too close for comfort. Needlework goes out. Deadly Flourish as well. Just again, playing defense. Now the blast code going over. I thought that was a mistake. No. I'm not locked in here with you. You're locked in here with me. Fu able to get decent damage down on Gigo, though they might have picked a fight with the wrong guy. The rest of his team waiting in the wings should things go sideways. But Fu, very, very strong right now on 2.5 items. And like you said, Rev, especially in that last fight, but Fu, he knows this champion. He knows exactly the amount of space that he's got to play with on this Akali. And the rest of his team has been keeping him pretty safe as well.
I mean, yeah, I'm not sure if they know what they really want to do. Both teams just looking for any excuse to brawl down, right? 5v5, the first chance, we meet at dawn or whatever, the big recess. Now, do they need to? That's my question, because the moment you're leading the game and you're playing even, unless you're hyper scaling and the enemy's not, that's when the enemy will get their advantages, right? If you're closer to reaching your endgame potential than the enemy team and you're trading the same amount of gold, you're closer to becoming no stronger while the enemy still has room to grow.
FourY4 trying to cheese their way out of this bush. Good far side alteration will find its mark.
The arrow
also finding its mark. Pillar onto the clone. Now Fu looking for a way on the back line. Tut's going to summon a couple soldiers to help deal with that. Negates the engage. It was a good look there from Fluxu playing on their angles, but no dice just yet. Dragon has spawned. It is Ocean Soul on the line. If we get there, I have a feeling we won't. But Fluxu, they'll have first purchase on it, and you can't respond with a Baron this early in the game and with this many members alive.
I mean, maybe you can. We never know. We've seen Natakan already pinch it away. There's a Gwen. There's so many champions that can just mow the Baron. Gwen, Azir, maybe the Jhin isn't the greatest example, but the rest of them are. And Yampy, he's trying to do the Drake, but he's alone. And FourY4 has realized that they're trying to pressure, at least gain some space to trade for the Drake.
Yeah, not able to create quite enough to trade, but it's enough for Yampy to walk away with that dragon. And now Gigo just going all in here onto Curdy. Between two worlds popped. Back he goes. Using that escape button, but that is a key ultimate down. To be fair, Gigo doesn't have his either. So 2 big ultimates for the top laners, not going to be available. But a lot of really impactful ones still up and about should they want to fight over this dragon. Curdy going to give himself a recall. A couple members of Fluxu are going to recall as well. But the TP coming back in. It looks like they are committing, if not to this Baron, then to a fight around it here, Rev.
Well, if they allow the Alistar and Yas to just reset, that's the greatest chance they're going to get. Alistar, hello?
Well, they've left Yampy here high and dry as the Cyclone goes out. Double Cyclone will be enough to escape The Q come down as well. Azir mid turret, but Curdy going to chop that down real quick. And now they've got enough space to at least start this Baron off. They're not on vision, but they know exactly where they are. This could help decide the game here. Finally, we might get that big old 5v5 we've been looking for. This Baron going down so fast, like you were saying, Rev. It goes down in a blink of an eye with a Gwen, with an Azir, maybe not with a Jhin. Still not going to happen. Chanticleer goes out. Jojo trying to play defense. In goes Yampy after him. Fu on the other side, get knocked away completely by the Shurima shuffle, purely defensively, and a fantastic deadly flourish to keep Marvin away. Jojo might be in a little bit of trouble, but if you lose him, that is the least of your problems. Curdy with a big old flank, looking for the Q damage there. Jojo going to get a little bit of a shield. Tatu and Gigo try to keep him off their carries. Pro Delta going in, will not find his market. Now Curdy has to flash away because Gigo is just too big to deal with. You don't want to take that fight 2v1. Tuts will walk away with a kill on the cow, but Curdy thinks he could get something, anything on the other side of it. The ultimate popped again to used defensively. And after all that, Rev, it's a Baron for a cow.
It's a Baron for a cow, but there's no more gold lead, and there's a teleport. Part 2 coming out shortly.
Hey, yo, Gigo. I mean, he could take this, and now Tut's coming in on top of him. I thought it was just the one, but Curdy, he's going to get slowed by the pillar. Maybe he can get in there. Yes, he can. The kill's taken on the back end. Good decision-making by FourY4. The Baron was not enough. With those 2 TPs up, Rev, they punish and punish hard.
Please, for the love of God, Tatu, do not reset. Gigo, just abandon the top wave, play through mid and bot lane. There's the chance to just pry open the enemy defenses. The death timers are quite big, half a minute, but they don't look to open up the enemy base so far, at least. They're getting an extra tower, they're getting the 2k gold lead, and looking to reset and stabilize the game.
Yeah, playing a little bit conservatively here. The Waves not in a fantastic spot in the side lanes, but a little bit of their own doing, like you were alluding to. 3 dragons to 1, but that Baron power play could be everything. Now we're getting the POV from IU here, like this.
Look at how did he hit Marvin over there? I don't know, but that made sure that Marvin could never play the game again. And look at the flash. He was ready the moment he saw Pro Delta, just jumping on top of him, flashing away, making sure that you can get that kill. And now the Baron has recalls. He can come back to the play, living with a sliver of HP, barely 2 digits. But surviving means he's still there. He can put out some deadly flourishes, and Jhin, so much range to help influence the fight, even if his HP bar doesn't help.
Yeah, but you've still got the threat of the deadly flourish, right? The ability to lock you in place. And even if you go down, I'm going to help my teammates take you down with me. Now they get into that bottom lane, playing through 2 lanes, just engulfing that bottom side of the map to be able to get full control over the subsequent set of dragons. They're going to get this second dragon, barring an absolute disaster, and just keeping FourY4 away from that soul. That feels like one of their tickets back into this game. They've got a composition that can do immense amounts of damage very, very quickly to one champion, but FourY have control of the map here as it stands.
Look at Gigo. He doesn't care, right? You can deal with him just with one person, very close with the 3-item spike. The moment that you gain that Nashor's Tooth, you can maul through anything, and he just engages.
Yeah, it's simply very, very difficult to deal with. He's gotten to almost that raid boss status as the Enchanted Crystal Arrow not going to find its mark. The field goal is good, but not much else going well right now for FourY4. It was a great first 20-25 minutes, but the Baron call and the subsequent fight, I think more crucially, right? The Baron call was one thing. It was quick thinking, it was good, but the fight afterwards and using those TPs to kind of, to press their advantage, really, right? Because getting that Baron was one thing, but now you've got all the cards in your hand.
Yeah, maybe surviving on a sliver of HP was kind of lucky, but after that, you turned that luck into more and more advantage, and that's no luck. Curdy, getting caught, but using the ultimate.
Yep, and now the curtain call. IU is free as a bird to light up the rest of FourY4. Curdy does get himself a kill there under Jojo, so it is a 4v5, but this is still a fight that FourY are banking on themselves to win. If not straight up, then they're going to look for some guerrilla tactics here. Tatu going forward there as the blast cone will thwart his advance.
Not sure if they can win, because I don't see a Cyclone. I only see Enchanted Crystal Arrow, a perfect execution. Pro Delta has no ultimate. He's very, very squishy. So even in a 4v5 scenario, 4k gold down, I'm not sure if you win those.
IU, he's got to know that Foo's around. You got to be careful. Enchanted Crystal Arrow again misses that engage tool. If you don't have the Cyclone, you need that arrow to land. Otherwise, you're going to get pillared. Fu, he's got flash up. He will use it to get into the chicken pit. And just like that, Fluxu actually took the dragon kind of out from under my nose. I didn't even see that. Fluxu W7M got themselves the Ocean Soul, so they've got a lifeline back into this game, but something is telling me it won't be enough.
Yeah, that's my question right now. Is it enough? Do you have the HP bars to survive the game right now? Because if you're playing with bruisers, if you're playing with tanks, that Ocean Soul can be very, very effective, right? Especially with a complementary Mountain Drake that can help you be just slightly more tanky, survive, and then come back with all that extra HP that it provides. But right now, you have 3.5, I want to say, squish champions, which will not survive so far. Maybe Yampy will, because, Cleaver, a ton of HP over there. Sterak's Gaze gives you that extra lifeline as well, so you can survive. But the rest, the moment that Prodelta loses his ultimate and he faces the Caesars, he's going to learn why you never run with them.
No notes. You wrap that point up beautifully with a metaphor, like a good caster as well. You can't if you can't stay alive long enough for the soul to take effect, it doesn't matter, right? Both of these compositions can do a lot of damage in a hurry, right? Tatu can just negate your resistances, get what's while you're doing true damage, and now Prodelta over the wall with a fantastic headbutt, and now with a big stream of shuffle that'll buy them a little bit more time. But here comes Fu, he gets lit up and taken down, not even able to do anything. Tuts pops the stopwatch. Gigo read him like a book and took him down, but Tuts will go down on the other side. Marvin is kind of free firing here, dumping shots into Ayu, has to flash away, cleansing away as well, getting the reset from Giga, or from Jojo, excuse me, get a little help from him. The pillar is massive in slowing the advance of Fluxu W7M. Rev, just an untouched health bar for Marvin.
Yeah, Marvin was free to fire and he saved the fight from Fluxu, but Jojo needs so much credit because he's the only reason this wasn't an absolute disaster for Furia. The flank from Curdy and Fu was so good, and the only reason they did not sweep was Jojo popping that ultimate and making sure that both of those carries can't actually stick on the Azir, they can't actually stick on the Jhin, and that means that you kill Fu and you can kind of deal away with the rest. It's not great, but it's not terrible. Jojo, what a savior.
No, I mean, that is Rakan gaming right there. You can go forward, but what you can do going backwards is just as important on this champion, right? You're so slippery and able to reset your positioning so well. As we get another replay of this, we are getting the Marvin POV here. And Rev, we talked about, okay, who could be the distractions for Fu? Well, Fu and the boys are being the distractions for Marvin.
Yeah, Marvin, all those slows means that the rest of the team need to flash away, make sure that they run. You can't really play when the HP bar is so high, and even if you get dealt some chip damage, there is where the Ocean Soul matters, the flash.
Oh man, Gigo, he's going forward with everything he's got. He's W gaming again, can't find its mark with the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. But now Jojo looking for a little something here, but Gigo just gonna get lit up. Oh, he's able to teleport. I cannot believe he got away with that. That feels unfair because the Baron is being taken right under their noses, Rev, with no challenge whatsoever. FourY making another incisive call to grab themselves the Baron. And that is just how the cookie is crumbling right now. Fluxu again having to fight an uphill battle.
Hello, I was just about to say maybe he got caught, but that's a fair trade because they're getting Baron. But no, nobody catches Gigo twice in a row, as it seems. He gets away, he gets the Baron, helps his team as well. That one teleport missing is nothing right now, as Jojo uses his own. Toots, I think, will teleport back into the fray as well, or he'll push bot lane, and they're looking to open up both inhibitors and even maybe play for the Elder, because it's up in less than 2 minutes.
And with the soul taken there by Fluxu, it's gonna be another couple minutes here, right? Like you said, minute and a half. Yeah, I think that's what you're banking on and what you're playing around. But look, you've got a big old gold lead here, but Fluxu have proven that if they're the ones that have any sort of agency in this fight, the gold lead's going to matter a lot less. Look, 6,000, I'm not negating that. Everyone is basically up an item-ish, or at least half an item, on their opposite number right now. I think you're waiting for Gigo to be able to grab himself that death cap, right? I don't know how far away he is, but he's got a bounty on his head, and you saw what he was able to do, right? With when Fu went in on that last fight, yeah, it allowed Marvin to kind of free fire, but he got lit up immediately by Gigo, right? Don't run with scissors. You find out. FAFO, as they say. You mess around and you find out. But I think that's what FourY are doing right now. Look, using this Baron to make it so that Fluxu have to come into this fight blind. The setup is going to go a long way to dictating who wins this fight, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't even think that they need to go for the inhibitor, right? They don't need to risk it. There's no biscuit over there. You just make sure that the enemy team can never reach the river. They can never go there. They can never reset their vision. And look, IU never bring himself in harm's way. He's playing from miles away.
Now they want the fight here. The good pillar went down, and that's enough for them to hit go. Yampy goes down. Turdy goes down. That is a lot of damage going down here. Yampy actually surviving a little longer than I thought. The inhib goes down. Finally, they got 2 out of this. If nothing else, Flu went in and went right back out. Marvin getting lit up here. Tuts will not die. That will be the game. It was a heck of a fight that Fluxu W7M put up, but at the end of the day, FourY just too strong around the margins. They take game 1.
Never mind, I don't know what I'm talking about. FourY, find an angle and just pull the trigger. What an ending there. A lot of questions, maybe some international jet lag, and honestly, lots of praise for Fluxo. I feel like I've been very repetitive, but even if they lose, they deserve praise for that performance. But now, they started the split by setting the bar high. So I'll be expecting more and more as time goes through, but it's not the end of that best of 3. They still have to lose 1 game or win 2.
Yeah, no, and I think that's going to be the interesting part here, right? Is, okay, you kind of maybe caught them by surprise is a little disingenuous, but you drafted yourself a composition that was very chaotic. But on the other side of it, that also means it's harder to execute. It's harder to team fight. And they actually executed that composition pretty well. So I think that's the other thing, right? If you're going to draft, Fu on the Akali and, you're going to put Curdy on a carry shape and, oh my God, he got a solo kill early and the lane was just over. Well, it wasn't, right? A lot of other things went right in Fluxu's control. So that, I think, is the carryover that I'm taking. But FourY, right, they are, depending on who you ask, they're the best team in the league right now. I think Paint still they're in that conversation, but that's a conversation we're going to have a little bit later. But Rev, kind of to your point here, again, you don't want to get repetitive about it and almost condescending, but Fluxu deserves tremendous amounts of credit. After a roster swap, you can see that they're just much more stable. Yes, after 25 minutes, they weren't really allowed to play the game on their terms, but they got themselves in an admirable position and took a couple team fights from goal positions that were disadvantageous. We'll see what they cook up for the draft in game 3, or in game 2, I should say. Rev, any final thoughts before we take it to a quick break?
Well, I certainly hope that it was not just a fluke, right? Maybe they just got lucky. Maybe FourY wasn't feeling in the first game. I am looking forward to see at least a second competitive game, if not more. I don't want to see them just roll over and die like it's a game 5 in MSI, man.
Too soon, and yet you gotta wear that one for because 1, you did it twice, and 2, until you go international again and disprove it, you're only as good as your last result, as they say. So we're gonna take it to a quick break. Hopefully, Fluxu can make it competitive, or if nothing else, then we'll see FourY put on an absolute masterclass and have them prove why they are the best team. Either way, should be a good one as this best of 3 rolls on. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back. They weren't kidding about those decreased time between games. I'm still constantly surprised by it, but here we are.
Yeah.
I've just finished chewing, which is huge. Fluxo, excuse me, Fluxo W7M and FourY going at it in game 2. You see the bans for Fearless game 1 up on your screen up there. Still a lot of attention being paid to the mid lane on both sides, really. You could say four mid lane bans, plus the Pantheon being taken away. Pantheon, I've completely changed my tune. Rev, the second half of last split, you didn't see my villain arc over Pantheon. I thought this champion was just Giga Astro Mondo Z tier Oomba Goomba useless. But now I've seen the light. He's a good champion.
Wait. Quick question.
Hmm.
Pantheon or Misfortune for last split?
I didn't hate Misfortune. I just like you have to draft around it. Pantheon, I think you can plug and play in almost any draft, but it's like Misfortune. I don't think is a bad champion if you draft around it. If you draft around it, then it's like okay, well then it's just execution. It's not the champion.
I think we need to lock you in, you and RMC in a room, like with no light for 3 days in a row, just a baguette between you two, and whoever wins the debate, he gets a baguette to just survive. But Jin Zhao first pick, quite a nice first pick right now. Also a plug and play champion. Speaking of those, and also a champion that should suit Yampi because you don't have too much to think about, and you can be the initiation fight, right? You can be there just going straight into the enemy's face and be a nuisance so that you coerce your team to follow up, right? You go in, their team doesn't follow up, you can then show that on the VOD review, slap them on the back of the head and say, here is where you should play the game. Now, the Seraphine answer is something I don't really expect.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, look, JoJo's got this in his pocket. I'd be surprised if they gave it to Tuts. I would bet a decent amount of money that this is going to JoJo. So, yeah,
Maybe
but
to
like you
IU?
said, could be to IU as well. That's a fair point. I'd be a little disappointed if it was on IU, but it very well could be. And it'll be a Jax blind that is answered by the Rumble here for Curdy. So again, it's something with a lot of I wouldn't even say playmaking potential, but a lot of damage, and has absolutely the opportunity to be a carry. Fu going to be on the Ari, taking that away from Tuts. We'll see what you respond with here on R3. Again, the Seraphine's still able to be flexed, but I didn't expect the Seraphine at all, and least of all, I'd expect Seraphine mid.
I mean, the Jax is also a flex, right? Because you can kind of expect him to go into the jungle. Pretty good matchup into the Jin Zhao. The Jin Zhao doesn't really have any moves as long as you keep your Counter-Strike ready and available the moment he goes in. You have the Counter-Strike, and here's the Sylas. There's a mid lane. I expect, at least. I don't see him going top lane to just match the Rumble. It's an awful matchup early on the game. So Sylas in the mid lane, quite a nice matchup into the Ahri, kind of the opposite of what we have with the Azir and the Akali in the previous game. And I still at least expect the Jax to go in the jungle. But right now, unless you first pick support on the red side, which is really insane, at least in my mind, you need to ban away Braum.
I think that's a good shout. We'll see if they do end up doing that. We got good ultimates to steal as well. On the back of the Sylas, right? Ariult always feels fantastic. Again, just talk about a champion with even more mobility and even more dashes. Banning away the Misfortune, I actually do appreciate. Again, it's not like the best setup, but the equalizer.
Thinkar just does it for you and for RMC. See the bans? It's like Yone for me, Pantheon for you, Misfortune for RMC. He's there for us. He's a homie.
He is. Think hard forever and ever. My goat. Continuing to show why he is, my goat. On the other side, as the bans come rolling in, Ambessa going to be banned away. Nautilus going to be taken away as well. Again, I think just kind of taken away from the setup for this Rumble. There are other champions, obviously, that can do it, but they will be less accessible. Sejuani going to be taken away as well. I think that's probably fair enough. Again, do you talk about the setup for a couple of these champions, right? If you can get the Glacial Prison into Encore, into Counter-Strike stun combo, that could be absolutely deadly. Senna going to be picked up for the first time, so it will be Senna Seraphine in that bottom lane. Been a while since we've seen this combo, Rev.
I mean, I do love myself some Senna. It's a little bit weird because I see the chat calling for IU to play the game. It's not really playing the game in the traditional marksman sense. Yep. You will not get to hyper carry unless things go really wild in the early game. But now you do have a lot of range and a lot of supporting as well to help your melee front line. You're kind of missing an initiation, maybe a tank, but the Seraphine and the Zen are such great follow-ups.
No, they absolutely are. And Rel going to be what's taken on the other side. But like you said, you almost feel like you're playing sort of like a boost Gigo composition. Like Gigo and Tuts, they're just going to have, like you said, these enchanters kind of at their backs, providing healing, shielding, stats, steroids that they almost turn into pseudo tanks, or they just do so much damage that you have to go backwards. So I think that's kind of how this competition is going to play out. I would like to see something. I mean, here, I think maybe you do go something like, okay, so
Yep. These are all
I
the
think
Galio.
yeah, you were right about the jungle jacks. I have to say, I was surprised with that. I thought for sure that Jax would be going to the top lane, but I guess we have been seeing him a little more in the jungle. I just didn't know how much more, I guess.
I mean, it really depends on what you want from your jungle, right? Do you want the jungle to be the pseudo Sejuani, abandon camps, save lane states? Then it's the worst pick ever. But you want a jungle that can kind of hold his ground, can answer invades, and be very, very good in early, mid, late game skirmishes, then Jack's your pick. And let's not forget that he's been kind of reworked. I think it's already 2 years now. His ultimate is a team fighting ultimate. You get so much more resistances when you hit enemy players. You can also follow up with a huge stun. And the enemy team, like I'm seeing right now, Fluxus team comp, there's not too much range going around, so you don't really care
No.
that you melee.
No, exactly. You're gonna have to get up in their guts no matter what. Decent kind of wombo combo potential. I mean, everything's gonna be playing around that equalizer early on,
Yeah.
right? And I mean, and into the late game, to be fair as well. And they've got decent setup for it, but I do think that Card had a couple of really based bans, taking away a couple of those champions, right? Taking away the MF to be able to layer on top of it and make that even more deadly. The Nautilus, if you can get one good depth charge, you can CC a couple of members, right? Get that into the back line and just watch them bounce into certain doom. But Fluxu, yeah, I think they're gonna have a tough task laid out ahead of them. I do think that this composition for Fluxu, or for FourY, I should say, is a little easier to pilot. And I think with the confidence of game one, again, I'm just hoping that they don't roll over and die Fluxu in this second game, because this composition, especially again, you're given a lot of the responsibility early on here to Curdy, and now you're gonna be playing into a much less volatile matchup.
I mean, is it? Or is it just volatile the other way around? Because every time that I dare to say that or is a very chill matchup, doesn't really, kill or get killed. Suddenly there's a solo ball over there. I have to go to Reddit, find again the old copy pasta of welcome to the League of War, the Mage,
that
Death
old
Knight,
season
Paladin,
10
whatever.
copy
Yeah.
pasta, yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I miss those times. But, you never know. There's the Grasp of the Undying. He will be trading. So as long as he survives the first waves, which have been nerfed repeatedly for Rumble, he should be fine.
And you talk about the range on this composition, not really helped out by the Kai'Sa either. Obviously, the Kai'Sa can reposition herself, and the engage actually pretty solid here. The team fight pretty dang good for Fluxu, but you worry that the range might be an issue, I think, like you said. And Marvin, look, this is a very high-powered bottom lane here, but into the Senna Seraphine, oh god, it's just like I would take the lane swap penalty to just not play against that lane.
I mean, yeah, it's very hard to deal with, and I think it gets harder, right? Because especially if Tuts goes towards the Rod of Ages build, he's gonna be tanky, so he will be able to frontline. He will be healed by the Seraphine. He will be healed by the Senna. The Seraphine can follow up through him with an ultimate, and there's so much easy follow-ups in this team comp. You are poking from afar the enemy team, even if you do have 3 melee champions. You do have the right of just engaging, and you also have the privilege of being able to engage from miles away. I'm looking at Gigo. If he can hit that Call of the Forge God, it's going to be unplayable for Fluxo.
It is going to be really, really difficult. I mean, it makes the Encore and the Dawning Shadow, and it makes Tatu's life just so much easier. Tuts can just go in with healing and shielding on his back. You got so much else to worry about, let alone the Silas dashing all over your face, as now the trade's coming in hot and heavy here. As Marvin and Pro Delta, they got the level 2 first, and now they're making a JoJo and IU's problem. The trade's still kind of in the favor of them. Oh my goodness, that is a lot of early damage. IU taken really, really low.
That level 2 was so great. They weren't paying attention to the fundamentals, and they almost got punished over there. Jojo losing both of his summers, but it's just a 2-for-2 flash.
Flashes up, big shields coming up. Marvin able to sidestep that E. Not the double E, would have rooted Pro Delta. But we'll get out of there. And we've got more fireworks than I was expecting early on.
Yeah. I mean, that flash was kind of weird, or maybe there was no communication. Marvin didn't auto-attack once in this skirmish, so Furia ends up getting ahead just because Fluxo was a little bit too eager to try and punish once again. Now, with no flash on Pro Delta, he has way less of a threat over the long range of IU and Jojo, and maybe IU takes a very awkward reset, but he comes back with the socks, and that means it's going to be way harder to lock him down.
I like that. The socks. Yeah, that is kind of how they feel. They make your feet hurt a little less. They feel a little better, but really not doing much. My wife hates socks. That's actually the first. I think if she could take, if when she got home from work, if she could take off her socks before her shoes, she would. Are you one of these people that just like you can't like sleep with?
But Marvin, nice.
The small talk will have to wait as Yampy not able to get out there quick enough, abandoned by his support. Marvin 2v1 in the bottom lane.
Hello? How? The flash still available?
Yeah,
can we pause? Can we pause? Can we investigate for any bugs? There's a wall over there. I don't know how that could happen. Marvin caught asleep, and oh my god, is it starting? Are we ganking a level 4 ore?
Yeah,
no way. There's gonna be a dive, right? Oh my god.
It's not even a cannon wave. Surely it doesn't reek of this much desperation. This could go very, very badly, very quickly, setting up the volcanic rupture. Yeah, not going to be a dive. Curdy just kind of babysitting the wave until Pro Delta and Marvin can opt out of a very ugly start to the lane matchup. Down early here. As actually Jojo ended up getting that kill, so he'll be on his way to his support item. So not the worst thing in the world, but it almost kind of doesn't matter because IU's just going to scale into infinity regardless of the kills he gets.
I mean, I don't hate it because right now, if Jojo gets the income, you can just opt in the relays, right? You can stop keeping your spells like the double E. You can just hit with a single E. You can start with a Q that hits 100% of the time. Then suddenly they're slow. Then suddenly you can follow up, or the you can follow up, and yada yada yada. One thing brings the other, and you're getting advantages left, right, and center. And now Curtis is the one actually paying the price because he has been drafted into a favorable matchup, and he has
congratulations,
to go.
Buddy, have fun.
Yeah, he has to go like lane into 2 ranges. He's gonna be kind of fine. The electro harpoons are pretty strong, but he's not gonna be getting any advantages, and he lost the advantage stop as well to try and push in that wave.
Yampy, gonna aggro the dragon. Maybe not do much. Okay, just wait for it to pull it out. Curdy waiting there, but I like the shout for the Rylai's, and with that Ruby Crystal, I bet that's what JoJo's gonna rush. Again, this whole composition for FourY is just slow everyone down enough to make Tuts and Tatu's job easier, right? And make it so IU is just hitting, not even moving targets here. So I think the Rylai's is actually super based. If he goes for that, I will give you all the credit and none of it to JoJo, because that will be that would be an absolute game changer to get on that this early.
Yeah.
Looking around the rest of the map here, nothing really much to say other than Gigo going with that. The Spirit Visage early, it looks like. So yeah, again, just slamming that magic resist. Fair enough. On the other side, IU, like we said, going to continue to scale up kind of limitlessly. Fluxo able to grab themselves the first dragon of the game. But for the viewers, Rev, socks.
I was expecting, like, I was waiting for the moment, like nothing's happening on the map. So if you were able to take socks before shoes, how would you do that?
I have no idea, but I wouldn't. I think I like socks. They keep my feet warm. I don't mind that. Like, could you sleep with socks on? For example, I think let's start there, because I like wearing socks. I like wearing socks around the house, and they don't, they keep my feet from getting dirty, right? If I haven't like swept in a while, I'm not getting just like random crumbs on my feet, right? But but I won't sleep with socks on because I don't like that degree of sweaty foot.
I mean, I don't always get sweaty with socks on. It really depends. Sometimes I sleep with socks and it's the comfiest thing ever. Sometimes I sleep barefoot. It really depends on the day, right? But the worst thing with socks is them getting wet, right? We have to do something about it. Can we like have socks with an extra little bit of sole, just not hard enough to make it uncomfortable or whatever, but just a layer of waterproof. Is that too much to ask?
Maybe it is, man, because I feel like if it could be done, it would have, because then it's just a money printer.
I mean, would have, because right now there's been so many ideas that just pop up in the world, and suddenly like, how come we've never thought of that before? Like,
Yeah.
how many ideas just exist in the world? And I'm thinking, okay, but how did the person that thought of it in the first place, right? I can't wrap my head around it.
Yeah, maybe maybe it can't be done. Well, chat, if you can make your way onto that, all we ask is for 5% of the proceeds. When you do eventually end up making gazillions of dollars off that,
Yeah,
as the grub's taken here by Fluxo W7M, grab themselves the first two objectives.
yeah. I mean, they have to, right? Jax really wants to just farm around. Jin Zhao is kind of strong early in the game as well. So you're getting the first move, especially with engaged support for Delta. Oof,
Hey,
that was dangerous. If he would have hit, then you would have been in trouble. He plays with no cleanse.
and Jojo, I mean, just you see, like you said, unless that initial CC and setup for Marvin goes well, the
Hmm.
trading back is just so easy for Jojo
Yep.
and IU, right? The empowered autos from the Seraphine as well. You don't even have to do the empowered E. You could just do empowered literally whatever and be such a menace.
I mean, yeah, and the Senna as well. I'm not even talking about the Seraphine. I myself am a Senna player, and my heart is like pumping until I can dodge the first skill shot, the first engage. After that, it's my playground, man. I turn back, I have gajillion range, healing my teammates, slowing the enemy team. It does everything if you can just free fire. And so far, so good. You're very close to static. You're very close to giving less and less opportunities to Pro Delta to have the space, have the time to gap close into you and threaten you, because as soon as you can clear those waves, you don't really have to ever go close to the enemy team ever again. And after that, like how are you dealing with IU? How can you engage with them? Fu has such a tall task to wrap around the whole enemy front line and make sure that that kiss doesn't miss.
Yeah, and if nothing else, I mean, even if you are able to get into the back line, right, you'd like to think that depending on the way that the fight is set up and the way the fight starts, between Gigo, Tuts, and Tatu, you should be able to get some sort of, if not peel, then just some sort of distraction, right, onto IU. And here's the other part of it. Even if you don't, you've got potentially bigger problems to deal with in the early to mid game, right? Tatu could just jump on you, stun, R, and goodbye, Sweet Prince. Tuts, if he steals an impactful ultimate, right? If he gets the Rumble ultimate, if he gets the Ari ultimate to be able to shift himself around, another ultimate he could grab is that the Killer Instinct to reposition himself. There's so many other tools that you have to deal with. This Fluxo composition is not a bad one, but the
Ooh.
low range and the high degree of execution make it a tough one to be able to pull off successfully. Do force the flash there out of Jojo. Not the most necessary thing on the Seraphine, but you'll take it.
No, no, a great call from Jojo to actually flash over there. He did see Yampi with the corner of the eye, because if he could have been hit, then he would have suffered the Marvin fate. Now
No.
they're just giving away some space. They're playing a bit back. They don't really care about the Drake, as Tatu is on the other side of the map, still farming up his Trinity Force and trying to farm up his jungle item. And as long as they don't get caught, they're fine.
Ooh. R1, R2. Tatu gonna flash forward, waiting for Curdy to commit the flash. Equalizer goes down to
Ooh.
absolutely no avail. Cleansed out of that double E. As Pro Delta takes a ton of damage. Jojo and
Ooh.
IU pull off the defense valiantly here. Fu, you came down here for what, brother? It didn't end up working out. Pro Delta and Marvin far too low. Yampy gonna direct his sights onto the dragon. Not gonna get much help though. And on the other side, it'll be Tatu and Gigo grabbing themselves some turret plating in return.
I mean, I love them from Furia, and I think that's what they got from International, right? They didn't get any wins on the stage, but they got so many good screams, and that's something that was missing in the previous split. They were the team that if they got ahead, they could close out teams, but getting ahead on the map state, if they didn't get the early game draft, was an issue. Now, they see those windows of opportunity, they capitalize on them, and they get the maximum amount of gold that's allowed. Tata getting the kill, them getting the 2 plates. That's such a great start from Furia in a game where, once again, they have to abandon all early objectives.
They got the first two as well, did Fluxu. They got the first two, and now I guess you got one of the feats there, but FourY, they've got a 1,500 gold lead. With those 2 early kills, JoJo accelerated just a little bit here, but like you said, you get into his first item spike. Gigo going with the Koenig Rookern early. I knew it wasn't going to be Spirit Visage, but I couldn't remember what the other thing that the little hood thingy built into.
Spirit Visage?
Now I do. Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Is like I thought it was
Oh.
Spirit Visage first, but I'm like, that's a bit of a weird first rush onto Ornn. But like, I forgot that Koenig Rookern built out of the thingy as well. So
I mean, who even builds Spirit Visage nowadays? Like it's unless the enemy team has fully stacked magic penetration and I don't know, it's full AP. I don't feel like nobody builds it. Who's healing enough so that the Visage is a good purchase? Unless you play with the Soraka, but who are you, Trimby?
I would say Trundle into the right
Trundle.
composition.
Oh. Okay, yeah.
You get Trundle with a Spirit
and actually,
Visage. Go
Tatu
drain
built
tanking a little
Spirit
bit,
Visage
dude.
before.
Dude. Yeah.
Oh.
Tatu, or excuse me, Tuts.
Oh.
Sorry, wrong one. My goodness. Look at all these dashes. What are we doing? Flashing over the wall. Tuts, if he lands that E, then he will be good. But if he missed, it was going to be bad.
Oh.
Yampy flashing forward when he becomes lightning. He's 2 levels down. Tuts might win this, question mark. Pro Delta gonna get a little bit of help. Dawning Shadow over the top. Helps out Tuts. No way he gets another one out of this. Pro Delta lays down the CC and bails Yampy out from what would have been a very embarrassing fate.
Oh, that was so close. They needed 3 people to get Tats, and Tats also tanked 2-3 turret shots over there. What an excellent display of skill, as he also gives so much space to his team. Look at Ai already pressuring the mid lane together with JoJo, and he doesn't even have 40 stacks to get the double range.
IU in the shadow. JoJo taking a decent amount of damage, but returning it just as good as they got it. And now Gigo looking for a pick here onto Curdy. He's doing Mage Ornn things. That is a sneaky amount of damage done. With that Koenig Rookern, Curdy can do absolutely nothing to him. He's just tickling him. He does Z. JoJo shows up to help out, getting a little more damage down. Curdy not long for this world.
And welcome to the League of Legends Champion Spotlight, featuring Ornn, the Mage, Death Knight, Paladin, Hunter, Rogue, Warrior, Enchanter, Tank, Bruiser, Wizard, Warlock, Priest, Assassin, Gunslinger, Druid, Shaman, Necromancer, Ninja, Gunslinger, Bard, Monk, Robot, Conjurer, Blacksmith, Mystic, Warden, God, Illusionist, Templar, Wizard. There it is.
And chat, in case you're wondering, no, he didn't have that pulled up on the other monitor. And if you did, no, you didn't.
For sure. I remember all of that stuff, and I'm not old, but let's look at what Tats did, because he was playing very nicely in Fog of War. Fool thought that he has his team assistant, but the Silas is so oppressive when you're actually walking into him, and Yampy wasn't ready. He was ready to play on the other side of the map. If Tats would have hit that first chains, that first abduct, it would have been game over. But now he tanks 2 turret shots, takes another flash, and still gets a W.
Impressive work. Really good stuff there from Tuts. Again, it's just this FourY team, on top of, I mean, yes, the macro is what kind of has gotten them over the mark, and the power of friendship, and having Tatu play an absolute blinder of a rookie split. But the thing about FourY, they have so many different ways they can beat you. If you put Gigo on a tank, Tuts, IU, and Tatu are absolutely capable of taking the game by the scruff of the neck and saying, nope, don't worry, I'm going to go and get us a bucket. I'm going to bang this into the top corner. I'm going to make sure that we are going to be okay here. Oh, just immediately jumping there onto IU. He's taking a lot of damage, but not enough that he can't heal. Right back up with the help of JoJo. Tuss looking for an opportunity to go right back in, and that route will do it. Good equalizer there by Curdy, but JoJo and IU just go around it. That's a double kill for Tatu. IU, surely he doesn't get away with this. Unbelievable stuff. JoJo playing a blinder. Tatu wants a quadra. Even if he dies for this, he wants the penta. Able to killer instinct onto Gigo. Very nicely done by Marvin. But Tatu, if he can get on him, smites him down, clangs down, not enough. It's a penta kill for Tatu as he stands up on his chair. That had broken ankle and neck brace written all over it, but Tatu is cranked the hell up. First pentakill of his very young career.
Oh, stands up once again afterwards, shows the adrenaline still pumping, and that's the start of Split 3 for you. FourY still showing they're the big dogs or the big cats, and Tatu started as a rookie. Now he is the big mafia boss.
6-0 in the blink of an eye. And that wasn't even, I mean, it wasn't a great fight for Fluxu, but I did not expect that. Tatu, I mean, just again, the angles, I would love to get a replay of that and see, again, just the different angles that they jumped on that fight with. But also, I mean, more than that, Might have to hold on to this point as Fu able to dash right into the arms of trouble. Gonna grab himself a couple petals. Tatu. He wants the hexa kill. He's not done yet.
No!
Another one. Make it potentially 6 kills in a row. 7-0. This is Tatu's world, man. We're all just living in it.
I mean, don't look at the jungle gold difference. Don't look at him having 2 items 70 minutes into the game. He's gonna be looking for more. Just going in, tanking the turret, doesn't care. He's so strong. Why isn't everyone picking Jax if it's that OP?
Dude. I mean, look, okay, and if they jump onto Ayu here, I was gonna say the MVP of that last fight that got Tatu the pentakill. If it's not Tatu, he's so strong. Like, look at him. He's just going with reckless abandon. He's a raid boss right now. It doesn't matter what you throw against him. Pro Delta's just sacrificing his life.
Jesus.
He says, Marvin, leave. Marvin, run. Tatu can jump on you. You will die again. What are we doing?
And I mean, the game is done and dusted right now, right? We're 7k gold lead. I didn't see the 7. Wait, shutdown? Give the shutdown?
Whoa!
No way. Wait, the turret! The turret! He's
There's
alive!
no way you invested in ults to keep Tatu alive there. Do everything. They're just
That's a
playing with their
1k.
food.
That's a 1k gold lead. What is this resolution, man?
What?
This guy plays on 4-3, gets the pentakill. The triple kill was so easy. And then Gigo, as the gig got his, make sure that he sacrificed himself to give Tatu the pentakill. And look at the reaction. Absolutely real. Kicks the chair back like the absolute mad lad head he is. Almost drops down. The crowd goes wild.
I'm just so scared. I'm like, the last time I stood up on a chair with wheels, it didn't end well for me. And that's not like a carpeted floor they have back there. One false move, that chair goes flying one way and you go straight into the ground, potentially face first. Tatu's gonna get himself killed one day, dude. What the heck?
Pretty sure that's the most NSFW thing we're ever gonna see on the Riot official stream.
Maybe.
It's not safe for work, right? Never do that in your office environment, please, unless I don't know. You have the greatest insurance ever, but I wouldn't count on it. Still, Tatu. They're not gonna get him, I think. He is 8-0-1, 700 gold of bounty. You know what? That's too little.
Dude, I mean, my biggest takeaway as we're gonna walk away with this objective pretty much uncontested. Tatu plays borderless windowed.
Yeah, and on a very, very weird resolution. I mean, I've seen a lot of pros playing, not full screen. I'm not sure entirely why. I think it's to run some other programs in the background. And at least in my experience, where I also play borderless windowed, but it's because I play with double screens. And I really like to alt-tab and not having my whole computer crash out.
Just completely puke all. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so, when you do that with borderless windows, like it keeps playing finally. But is he gonna die? Vote now.
Yeah, vote now on your phones. Exactly. I'll
the
say
flash!
no. Oh, okay, very nicely done, Fu. Over the wall. You did invest a flash there. Shutdown goes on to Yampy of all people. Feels really bad, but hey, 500 gold is 500 gold, I guess. Tatu's still 8-0-1 with that massive, massive bounty on his head. Gigo, gonna pop the call of the Forge God here defensively. Won't be enough to
Tatu's
save the
there.
tower.
Big
Here
boss
comes
Tatu!
Surely they don't 2v5 this with the help of a tower. Great stopwatch to keep himself safe for a little while longer. They get the objective bounty, and now they head for the hills. Jojo waiting in the wings, coming in hot. Brady's the counter strike, gets hit by the charm. Doesn't matter, they don't go in there. If they do, they know that they are not long for this world. On the bottom, or on the top side of the map, I should say, Ayu wailing away on that top lane tier 2.
I mean, yeah, you are, but that's actually a huge win for Flax W7M. But I can't help but think of the meme that, I don't know, Chris Brown hits the 3 and reduces the difference to 53 points because the gold tip is still close to 7k, closer to 7 than 5. And Curdy will find Tatu, but who's locked in with whom?
Yep, now Tatu just able to right-click him to death. Oh, okay, Blastcone does bail him out, and the rest of the gang shows up to provide moral support and pat Curdy on the head and say, no, Tatu Jax isn't real. Tatu Jax can't hurt you. He's not.
But there's no stopwatch, though. Like, that's 1,600 gold gone to the wind right now until he can spend the same amount more to complete the Zonia's Hourglass. It's a component with very, very bad actually stats for what it provides. You only use it for the active, and Tatu hasn't got that right now. Still, Free Atagan is very, very nice. He wants to start farming up as soon as humanly possible to complete that Zonia's Hourglass, and after that, he should have his flash, or at least be very, very close to having his flash up and available. You just unleash him, right? Take that collar off and let him bark all over the enemy team.
What a game. What a game. I mean, I was hoping that it wouldn't be this this much of a blowout, but I'm glad that it was, because we got to see something like what we just saw from Tatu, and not just Fluxu playing terribly, because I don't even think they played terribly. Because, like, to go back to that last fight, if you, or the fight that Tatu got the pentakill on, if you dedicate that much time and energy and angles onto an immobile champion like Senna, hold up.
Oh,
Encore goes down. Tatu able to get onto Curdy. Drops the
Toots.
equalizer. Not a bad ultimate, actually, but it's just too little too late. The wallet diff is far too high. They're getting nothing out of this. Gigo able to get the R2 down. Yampy with a nice crescent guard. Not going to take any other damage, but this tower will not be long for this world.
Oh my god, they also have Shelly. I don't think they would want to crash to this tower. Just go for the next immediately.
Exactly.
Oh god, it's wild. Oh my god, he's just sending a message, man. He's going top lane.
Oh, you can't make this stuff up, dude. Tatu is he's playing the game on easy mode right now. Just playing PvE. Lots of attention paid on Gigo. Yampy goes in, but it will not be enough. And now he's going to get Shelly in and run right on back and get a more CC.
Oh my god. Oh,
the joie de vivre that Tatu plays this game with, man.
Shelly's still alive. The smoke, another quadra kill.
Yeah, just by the way, Tuts got a quadra kill. What an absolutely joyous start to the 2025 LTA South second split. Oh my goodness. Tatu and Tuts putting on an absolute clinic. Unbelievable stuff. Wraps up the ace. A penta for the rookie. Welcome back, FourY4.
Oh my god, he stood up like half a minute before the game ended, just enabled auto attacks, clicked on the tower, the game is over. And I've never seen in a competitive game somebody run over the enemy team and then come back for round 2. That's Fluxo. They started the game 1, they showed some great promise, but that game 2, man, they for sure want to forget as soon as humanly possible.
Yeah, I mean, look, you like what you saw from Fluxu, right? I mean, until kind of Tatu just decided to go bug mode all over everybody, it was looking all right. They were playing well, especially in game 1. They executed a tough to execute composition pretty well. There are things to like for Fluxu and company. If you're a Fluxu W7M enjoyer, all 5 of their fans are just really stoked right now. But FourY4 still the top dogs right now. And like, you can only beat what's in front of you, but to absolutely dismantle them like they did in that game, and again, to just heal up IU like you did in that last game, right? I mean, again, like, I go back to that pentakill fight. They jumped onto IU and dedicated everything to him. And first of all, IU just orb walking backwards, spacing very nicely, and Jojo just chucking out heals like a World of Warcraft raid. Just like, I stand back here, you get just the snot beat out of you. I'm just gonna throw out healing on top of you, and it was just like, once they couldn't execute there, forget the pentakill. You knew they were gonna have a rough time.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, and especially considering the draft, how early you're showing that card. You were already pretty sure that it's a Jojo Seraphine, so I'm pretty sure that the coaches also were kind of aware that, hey, this is most likely what we're gonna face. You can't punish that. You get punished in lane. Things went awfully south, awfully fast, and there's nothing more for me to say from Fluxo W7M in game 2. I'm pretty sure they know themselves that they don't really have anything to VOD review from that game from minute 12 onwards, and they want to forget it. But I have a lot to comment about FourY4 because they did step up from game 1 to game 2, and that's what I want to see from my champions.
Yep, exactly. Right, you dismantle inferior teams. Sometimes it's not enough to win. It's about sending a message, as they say.
For sure.
And message sent. by Tatu and company. Look, they look like they're kind of picking up right where they left off and playing with so much joy, man. And it starts with this dude right here, Tatu. He's still got that youthful exuberance about him, and he, if barring disaster, he's gonna have a long, successful career ahead of him in this league, and maybe beyond. Who knows? He's shown so much in so little time that he's been in the top level of Brazilian League of Legends. It's been absolutely awesome to see. Rev, any final thoughts before we send it to a quick break and then get the other caster duo on here for Pain versus Leviathan?
Yeah, Tattoo, if you're ever thinking about joining any other league, don't go to LTA North. They just the talents don't.
No, please, we need you. Please.
Yeah, please, man.
All right, that'll do it for us. Big shouts out to Dia on production. He will not be leaving us, thank goodness. But FourY4 and Rev, we'll be taking off for now. I'll be back later on tomorrow. Rev, are you back on this weekend or no?
I think I'm back tomorrow as well.
All right, sweet. Then you will see both of us tomorrow, whether you like it or not. But until then, we bid you farewell. We'll be right back with Pain versus Leviathan. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for series number 2 of the kickoff of LTA South. I'm AC, and joining me is a RandomMinionCaster, and somehow something is up. How are you doing, RandomMinionCaster?
Well, AC, I'm doing the minion thing where, we don't spawn until, minute plus, so it's going to take some time for us to spawn here on the screen, but we will. Yeah, I'm sorry I dragged you with me, AC. But welcome, AC, back to the LTA South. It's been a while since we last got you here. But yeah, the game 2, series 2 of not just today, but of Split 3. We've got ourselves Pain Gaming up against Leviathan. Pain Gaming, the expected winners of Split 2, they kind of choked. 0-3 grand finals against Furia. And Leviathan, second place in Split 1. They choked too. In Split 2, they were right at the bottom. So both these teams come in hot in for Split 3, looking to right some wrongs.
Exactly, and we are here with Bing. I mean, we've already seen a couple of games here from the return of Furia. They started off a little bit slow, but they came back really, really strong. So our expectations here when we're talking about Pain are a little bit on the higher end because they had a larger time to readapt to the new meta to really focus up and figure out what they did wrong to get 3-0'd in the grand final, right? So coming in here, they have a little bit more room to breathe as well, considering they're up against Leviathan. So you'd expect them to have an upper footing here on this matchup specifically.
For sure. And with how the format has run week 1, of course, it's going to be the first seed from Split 2 versus the last seed, second seed from the second last, so on and so forth. Pain heavily favored. And they too feel like their issues were fairly minor. They are one of only 2 teams not to change their rosters, the other one being Furia. So yeah, Pain, they have to come in and they have to make not just a win today, but a statement win. They cannot afford to drop any games against Leviathan. But let's talk about Leviathan a little bit, AC, because they did make some changes. They swapped out their mid laner and their support. House coming back from tier 2 from CD, an old name here in Brazil, one that's very, very familiar. Mechanically good, but I don't know if he's necessarily what they needed. Toplop, on the other hand, a player I'm not as familiar with, coming in from the LRN. Toplop, interestingly, used to be a mid laner himself and only switched to support last split in the LLA 2024 closing season. He's now playing support. And I took a look at his stats in the LRN. Gonna be honest, didn't particularly impress me because you can see in the regular season he was 7th in KDA, 12th in kill participation. Not what you want to see. In the playoffs, he did do better, but still very average stats. And Leviathan's big issues last split was not mechanics. It was sort of shot calling and teamwork. They were lost, did not know what they're doing. And I'm praying, hoping that these stats means that Toplop was a great shot caller and maybe not necessarily the mechanical god that we often see here in Brazil.
I mean, if we're looking at stats alone, I mean, we can see that vision score per minute, he's on the 4th percentile within a league with at least 40-odd players. That's not too bad. Being the 4th highest scoring player in terms of vision, that means you can actually orient your team. That probably gives you signs that he's a player that isn't afraid to roam around the map and get vision where it's needed. And in this present meta, I think that actually makes a whole lot of a difference. Now let's see if Toplop actually fits in Leviathan here as a support for the squad, or if the overwhelming force of Pain are just going to crumble him and the newfound mid laner for Leviathan and absolutely put their upgrades to shams. But we expect greatness here in the second match of the day. At least I do.
Yeah, I certainly do. I mean, I'm a huge Pain fan. AC, I know you're a bit newer here to the LTA South.
I am.
So
Very
yeah,
definitely
expect a lot from Pain. They are the best team bar none. Ignore everyone else is telling you it's not Furia. Pain number 1. And we get to see Pain coming here onto the stage. As we mentioned, no changes whatsoever. I do want to highlight their mid laner, Romer, who's currently in the middle of that squad as well. He's sort of the newest player on this team. He was in tier 2 in the NACL, North American tier 2, just last year. And so far this year, he's had some glowing moments, amazing Jace games. He's also had some moments where he's literally single-handedly thrown games, such as the Ari games in the playoffs as well.
Well, that is a sight to behold. Also, I've received at least 7 different DMs telling me to not listen to you under any circumstances whatsoever.
No, they're just jealous of Pain.
I will refrain from further commenting on Pain's greatness and resume my focus on the fact that they got bodied 0-3 on the grand finals, and Leviathan could actually surprise with their new members who we are seeing now on our screens. From left to right, or in this case from right to left, there's Toplop. You also have CEO, you have Haas in the mid lane, Scary Jungle, Zothve in the top lane. And I don't know. I'm confident that we'll have a good show. We had a good show in the first series as well. Where Pain felt, or not Pain in this case, Furia felt a little bit more tired, a little bit more offset in the first game, but then they woke up, and they woke up hard, and Pain coming in here, I mean, I expect them to be a little bit offset first at the beginning when they're still trying to find their tempo, trying to find their pace here against Leviathan, but I still expect them to find their form faster, sooner rather than later in this case.
For sure, and that is unfortunately a normal thing for Pain, especially in the early parts of the season. They do tend to fall behind a little bit in meta, and they do tend to start a little bit slow. I'm hoping it won't be to the extent of Furia. After all, here in the South, we do often struggle with sort of the MSI or Worlds hangovers, the international event hangovers.
Yes.
Furia had a very interesting offseason as well because they did play 2 international events during the offseason. They didn't really have that much time, and they've been kind of jetting around everywhere. But for the other top 4 teams, so that being Pain, VKS, and I am blanking right now on who the other top 4 team was. But
Don't
these,
look at me. Don't look at me, buddy. I'm new here.
Isra Central, that was the one. Isra, because they divorced. I forgot, got split for a second. Yeah, they got to play in LA during the offseason.
Okay.
And they actually got to scrim against the North teams as well. So they got a little bit of international, but they got more time to kind of recover after. So I'm a little bit curious to see the effects of this training. Will we see Pain suffer from a bit of the international hangover, or will they be coming in strong, having scrimmed against some of their northern counterparts?
You'd expect them to be coming out strong, but we are talking about LTA North. So, after what we've seen in international competition such as MSI, it doesn't seem to bode too well for them, but we'll have to wait and see as we get into the first draft. I mean, the first few drafts are always going to be interesting because you always see a little bit of adaptation from either team. You know what's strong. We all know what's strong. But are these picks strong in the individual players' hands? As we do see Pain kick off on the blue side with Leviathan on the red. Aurora's out, Via's out, Gwen, Pantheon. So far, nothing out of the ordinary.
Yeah, fairly meta. We are on patch 15.14, so Yunara's patch, she is still disabled for the first 2 weeks, so we won't be seeing her, but it's going to be fairly similar to MSI. Most of the patch changes, the bigger changes were more to items than anything else, really buffing. I think the 80 carry role, Rod of Ages a little
Didn't
bit.
Ziggs get massively buffed as well? Somewhat?
Not...
In the meantime?
He did get buffed quite a bit, yeah. I'm just thinking, I'm hoping and praying that Titan doesn't play Ziggs. Both CEO and Titan can be very explosive, and I feel like Ziggs is kind of counter to that playstyle, so I'd hate to see it. By and large, it's going to be fairly similar to MSI patch. So yeah, Rumble getting picked up, Twisted Fate still being hovered. Twisted Fate, a champion that I think didn't really live up to the hype that we were hearing about going into MSI.
Yeah, I mean, it's still an important champion, but I see Twisted Fate in the same box where I see Yorick, where it's like there's a lot of threats in the current meta that don't allow the champion itself to flourish, and you need to dig a little bit deeper in the pool, have some picks taken out for him to be a viable option. I feel like Twisted Fate is still a viable option. The amount of control that you can get without actually committing too deep into the enemy jungle is incalculably valuable. Now you have Leviathan picking into a Scion and an Azir, locking in a late game plan, it seems.
Yeah, and the Azir for House specifically is actually a massive pick. Azir did get a small buff, but House has made some of his biggest plays in Brazil on this specific champion. In fact, we had a chance to interview him a couple of splits ago, and we did talk about it, and he said that, yeah, he doesn't like blinding it because there are counters, but the fact that he's doing it now, AC, right in his first match back in, does say, I think, that he's trying to make a statement match. But up against Romer's Yone, this is going to be spicy. That's a champion that can absolutely pop off. And the team fighting strength already from Pain with the Rumble, with the Maokai, with the Yone is already terrifying.
Yeah, and Yone is one of those champions that can really, really put pressure in the earlier stages of the game. Azir is a very susceptible champion when it comes to that early game pressure. So yeah, I fully expect to see Yone hard shoving mid lane, and I fully expect Scary's Shinzao to actually be trying to tilt the scales of this mid lane a little bit in an attempt to get House a couple of items in for him to be a relevant threat, and to even shut down Yone, which is super, super important. Now the Maokai pick, AP jungle, AP top, I mean... It's an interesting choice. We have seen Maokai. I have opinions about Maokai. I don't really appreciate AP Maokai as it's been built. I get that he's more bruisey, but I feel like he loses a lot of early tempo, and it doesn't sit well with me. But it's still super, super valuable as a position holder.
Yeah, I'm with you, AC. I don't like the sort of AP builds that come out. I'm fine with an early Leandris with a faster clear, but I'd love to see a bit more tank 2 come through. And knowing Karaoke, that is generally how he does like to play as well, is a bit of that tankier Maokai. He had 100% win rate last year with the Maokai, and then this split, or this year, he's lost a couple of games here and there, but generally speaking, still a great pick. Both teams, though, still looking for their bot lanes. And one thing that did develop at MSI was a hyper carry meta. And looking at the compositions already, Leviathan with the Xinjiao, with the Sion, already have an amazing front line. If you go something like a Jinx here with that Azir, it's going to be a really strong comp to be able to play forward. The risk, of course, being that Roamer right now with that Yone already has backline access, and Curry is phenomenal at finding backlines. Not a Jinx, but Sivir, hyper skills as well. Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe a mid-range AD carry for the bot lane, considering that you already have a Sion scaling up into infinity into the later stages of the game. So you have a massive meat shield that you can pull the strings on a more earlier game-oriented champion. But this works just as fine. Sivir into the late game. You have the Xin Zhao covering for the early. Let's see what we have on support for Top Lop for his debut match as well against Pain. As Pain themselves lock into their bot lane. They choose a Maokai here. Or not, an Alistar.
Okay, and I'm glad they switched away from the Jhin. I was thinking Jhin into Sion, you're just asking for trouble. The Alistar, much more sort of a Curry signature champion, his most played champion, in fact. And Titan now hovering... Oh, please don't do this. No. Oh, okay. So, Misfortune. Yeah, and here in the LTA South, we have a love-hate relationship with Misfortune. Some of our very vocal viewers are very much not Misfortune fans. I like Misfortune with setup. And to be fair, Pain has a lot of setup. I am a little bit concerned, though, about trying to, play that into all these tanks that Leviathan has, all the CC, and the fact that Braum is open. And that's why Top Lop is suffering it.
Yeah, so Top Lop locking into... I like Misfortune. I personally... Regardless of the massive and 50,000 page long deep lore about the LTA South, I personally am a fan of Misfortune, especially against these hyper carries. She puts them in check. She forces them out of position constantly, or not even the hyper carries into the later game, but immobile AD carries, which usually translate to hyper carries. So the Sivir, the Jinx come to mind. Misfortune is super good at punishing them. Braum is super good at not allowing Misfortune to punish them. So there's going to be a massive war of attrition between the supports, Top Lop trying to stay ahead of Sivir, and Kuri just absolutely pummeling him into the backline to allow clean shots from Misfortune. I'm interested to see what's going to come out of this bot lane.
Yeah, and that generally is the focus for Pain games. After all, Titan and Curry, arguably the best bot lane in Brazil, and are always in contention for that top spot and up against CEO and Top Lop. CEO getting better of Titan back in split 1, but in split 2, CEO was getting bodied left and right. He's got the lowest kill participation of any AD carry by a long shot. He's in the bottom 10 of all players in the league for kill participation, which was a massive issue for Leviathan back in split 2. But the laning from CEO has always been okay. Now throwing in Top Lop, we saw some of Top Lop's stats. He's not that mechanical guy. I'm actually very curious to see how they will hold up against Titan and Curry. And here's the thing, Braum, the Pain fans out
Braum isn't really a mechanical champion either, right?
And the scary thing about Braum is when he's ahead, he's great against Misfortune. If he's behind, Unbreakable, which stops the bullet time, will actually get him killed, because now he soaks more bullets than most other champions would have to eat.
That is true. So we're going to have to wait and see into the Summoner's Rift as we go watch the first game between Pain and Leviathan for the kickoff of Split 3 of LTA South. As we see, Pain are going to be on the blue with Leviathan on the red. And we have a scaling comp versus an all-around, honestly, really, really interesting comp from Pain Gaming. Looking for a little bit of early action, focusing a lot in the mid game. But they have very, very good team fights with Roamer and Weiser if they have the items to actually pull it off.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting contrast to what we just saw in Series 1 as well. Game 2 of Series 1 had Furia go in with a straight-up full-scale 5-member scaling composition where they just wanted to go late. They found early leads, and they were just unassailable.
Oh my
Here
God.
in the first game of Series 2, it does feel like Pain has to kind of win early. If this goes late against a Sivir, against a Azir, against a Sion, things get kind of tough. So Pain have to prove themselves with not just being better players, but with a bit of a time attack as well. They've got to close this one out nice and early.
Yeah, they do. They absolutely do. Unless they want that Sivir to get out of hand, that Azir to get out of hand. Do they have solutions for that in the later stages of the game? Curry can get massively big, but I don't think it's going to be enough to actually hold off all the hyper carries. In Leviathan's side, I did notice that Zothvi did bring Shield Bash. Me, a Sign enthusiast, massively respects the grind for the extra pummel of for the extra punt of damage that the Shield Bash can bring over Demolish.
Yeah, and hey, it's got
so
the
there's
infinite
that.
scaling. Yeah, so it's infinite scaling damage as well. Can kind of see it. Korean Titan already getting a little bit aggressive, trying to get some poke down onto CEO, onto top lop. It's kind of tough into Sivir because she loses trades, but she gets shoved, and she kind of just doesn't want to interact with you. She just wants to push.
She doesn't
nonstop, anyways.
Like, you're not gonna get punished. You're bound to get more punished by the support than you're gonna get punished by the AD carry at this point in time, at least. So you're going to see Kuri moving out of position several times to step up to CEO, just to make him miss that bit of CS, just to not allow him to scale as fast as they need to. And that's going to be the story for bot lane for the time being. So right now, what we can say is that the red ward in Pain's jungle did denounce where Carioca started. So if you look at the jungle stats right now, Scary is doing the opposite. So he wants to minimize interactions with Carioca and allow himself to actually be impactful. Maybe even get the dragon, get a first blood, and try to get something for Leviathan here.
Yeah, and that's the kind of tough part for Scary. When you have that Xin Zhao, ideally you want to get some early action down, but with the lanes he has, it does feel like a lot like he's just the insurance policy to try and get them to that late game, right? Like he just wants to show up to counter gank or try and equalize lanes more than anything else. I really don't know which lane is going to give him that much gank potential. Maybe mid lane, where Roamer has to walk up as a melee champion into the Azir.
Yes.
If House can get some more auto attacks off, it's potentially gankable, but it does put House in a very dangerous position himself, where
it does.
You already talked about how Yone can kind of try and bully out that Azir a little bit in the earlier side of things.
And there's also the fact that Haas doesn't really have a setup for Xin Zhao, so unless Xin Zhao just walks up and gets Roamer completely out of position and can get a knockup all by himself, House doesn't really have any setup CC that he can slow down Roamer for Scary. While in top lane, Zothvi has all the setup, but no damage to follow up. Or he could have some damage, but it is a Scion. And Scion's a really, really independent champion if you think of it.
Yeah, he's a strong, independent zombie who don't need no jungler. He just wants to survive and skill up effectively. The problem is he's up against Weiser, and you've already seen Weiser manage to bounce back perfectly off his turret. He's getting the damage down, and most importantly, Carioca was up there shading, and Leviathan knew that from that early ward, so it wasn't really an option for Scary at the point. Now it might be, as we see CEO and Toplop with that first recall go for the lane swap. They've got a numbers advantage, and Scary wants to materialize that right away. Ward will spot him out, and Scary, I think, knew immediately, like, ward or not, they saw Weiser peel off that wave after taking that last minion.
Yeah, and as soon as Weiser sees the enemy bot lane, he knows it's time to go. He knows it's swap a clock because the dragon is coming and they have to kerfuffle in the top lane for the grubs to spawn. The same old dance we've been seeing for the past 2 seasons. But hey, we're back in the bot lane here with Weiser and Zothve as the junglers are starting to think about doing something around topside. This is going to be the first time that they're going to be side by side in the jungle, both Carioca and Scary. And let's see if they are going to do something about it, because Scary's already moving towards bot side. Dragon is up, and that's going to be the first objective.
Yeah, I don't think Scary wants any that job. That 2v2 is just not comfortable right now for them, and I fear it's not going to get much better even at sort of that level 6 mark. CEO just wants to independently farm. The bot side lane swap was where I was interested in. Zothvi with the no magic mantle, I feel like it favored Zothvi a little bit more to get that early recall, to get these components. It's more effective than the Amp Tome in early levels. But it feels like it doesn't matter. Weiser matches with the TP immediately. Weiser is winning out anyways in terms of still being able to pressure, still being able to get control of this lane. And if Carioca wants to look for a gank, that equalizer is up and ready. Scion is not that tanky right now.
No. And Scion is a wave clearing machine once he gets to a certain point. With his QWE combo, you can just clear a wave in no time. But the issue is, in these earlier levels, until he reaches that breaking point, he needs a little bit of extra help. And now the Null Mantle does indicate, the Null Mantle and the Ruby Crystal, there it is. I was going to say he needs the Bambi Cinder, And I guess with the
Yeah.
second back, he actually got that Bambi Center, and then this is what he needs to keep the lane even. Because your main issue right now is trying to force the push power. Roamer ults away from the Emperor's Divide, as you do see a cheeky little Kirioka all down on the bot side trying to interfere as well.
Yeah, that mid lane interaction, all it's kind of just being traded there, nice and easy. But I am a little bit concerned, and that lane was kind of my lane to watch in this particular matchup. House might be coming up from CD, but he's the experienced one in this matchup, actually. He's had a lot more tier 1 experience, and you can see that. He knows how to stand his ground. He knows exactly how much damage the Yone can do, and when he can trade back, and he also knew his jungler was in his back pocket.
Karioka's doing the Dragon all by his lonesome himself. I don't know if there's a call from Leviathan to that the enemy jungler is on the objective, but they're just going to let this one slide for the Maokai.
They weren't in position. Scary was looking for that mid lane pressure instead. And
yeah,
we were talking about AP Maokai, with the Faded Ashes, that component building into the Leandries. Maokai doesn't take months to do an objective anymore. He actually can burn it down on his own fairly quickly.
Yep, and he took his time still, but he did it anyway. And now he's very much on time for the Grubs as well. The Grubs are going to spawn within the next minute, which means that Karioka can afford to go back, can afford to clear the bottom side of the map, and can afford to actually contest the top side once the team collapses back, because we don't see the swap being undone anytime soon. Titan and Kuria are still heading towards topside, or at least in this case, Titan is staying topside, and Kuria at this point is still trying to decide if he wants to go mid or top.
Yeah, as you mentioned, with the Grubs coming up, I think that is the focal point for both teams. It's worth noting as well, Zothvi does have the Unstoppable Onslaught to get up there from the bot lane. You can just run straight down river. So I do think it favors Leviathan to keep these lanes as is. But speaking of Titan and Curry, of the sort of 2v2 matchup that's happening up top, CEO actually up in CS a little bit before the recalls, before the resets. And for a Sivir, going even is a win. Having any sort of advantage is huge for them.
You would expect that. But I don't really see that material, as they are ahead in gold even. Scary's actually taking a little bit of priority here on the Grubs. But the thing is, I don't think this team is going to have the confidence to actually scale into the later stages of the game. That's because I see from the way that they've been trying to post up to fight, that Pain just have an intimidating aura to them.
Yeah, like I told you, best team in the league. Definitely not Cope, definitely not biased. But I mean, it is on Pain, to be fair, to try and make things happen in the early game. And I'm not seeing that happen so far, right? Karriok has just been farming up a storm. Titan and Curry have not been winning the 2v2, which is what we are used to seeing and expecting to see when they're picking a misfortune like that into the Sivir. Roamer is doing great in the mid lane, fantastic, and he's their one skiller, all good and well. But everybody else kind of wants to leverage the advantage. I'm not seeing that from Wiser, from Karioka, from the ones who actually have any sort of lead or advantage.
Yeah, I mean, in the jungle side of things, to Karioka's benefit here, I understand that he does not want to face Scary head on. You know, as an AP Maokai, you just can't out-trade a Xin Zhao that heals up in your face and CCs you and does a lot of bad things that you just can't fight back in the same turn, because his auto attacks are going to hurt a lot more than than the couple of ability cycles that you'd be able to come up with in that trade. So he's always going to be looking for someone to be with him, I would assume. In terms of top, I guess Weiser is just stuck with Zothve. Honestly. He has nowhere to go. Like, he needs to be unlocked by the rest of the team, it feels like.
Yeah, and that's right. And if Weiser can't leave the lane, then the lanes, or the rest of the team, needs to move to Weiser, I feel like. And this is my personal complaint, I feel like, with a lot of Rumbles. They win the lane, and then they kind of just sit there for some of the early fights, and I don't like that. I think you can leverage that equalizer to wonderful effect, get a lot of damage down, make something happen. That's what ideally I'd like to see. For now, though, lane swaps have come back in, and Weiser will continue to be locked in the 1v1 up top. Well, yeah, interestingly enough, Hao is actually rotating into this bot lane. Titan and Curry, we're not seeing the 80 carries in the mid lane, and that's not good for Pain, because Roamer was handling Hao's fine. I don't know if Roamer handles CEO and top lob just fine in 1v2.
So far, I think they let off the mid lane here, because Roamer's just going to farm up that wave and tell the rest of the squad that, hey, the bot lane CEO and top lob just went bot side. Maybe we want to do something on the river, because Karioka is already in position to go for the Nature's Grasp. Curry's already on standby as well. Something's brewing here, RMC.
a minute till the dragon finishes brewing, I guess. It feels a bit early. They're just fighting for vision control. And
Listen.
Pain did manage to clear out some of it, but you can see right there, 3 wards still in that river area. Leviathan are perfectly fine.
Listen, I was promised a bloody game in a very, very dynamic league. Right now, we're 11 minutes in and it's 0-0.
Yeah, for the record, I didn't promise you a bloody
product.
game. To be fair,
I was
didn't
promised
promise
a
you a bloody game.
completely different product from this because both teams are just posing up to each other, trying to figure out their strengths, trying to figure out their weaknesses. Haas gets knocked up. The rest of the squad of LEV are starting to come down, so that means Romer is backing up.
I guess you can change the name from CBLOL to LTA South, but you can't take the CBLCK out of some of these games. Definitely a very late first blood yet to happen at 12 minutes. I'm hopeful though. Dragon is up, and that's usually where Brazil or the South in general, LTA South, likes to get scrappy is around these objectives. Curry getting in there. They're trying to get wards down. There we go. The last ward from Leviathan will get cleared out. And okay,
that's a straight up teleport into the top lane with the dragon coming up. So that means Zolfit does not want to participate in this, so Weiser, they have a choice here. Pain can actually sacrifice top tower to get dragon, or they keep Weiser in the lane. So I guess Weiser's going back to teleport into the dragon if need be, but Leviathan is just not going to contest this.
Unfortunate. And that's the frustrating part, because technically, I actually really like that call from Leviathan to TP up in the top lane, because Zoffy still has unstoppable onslaught. If worse comes to worse and Weiser TP's down to the fight, Zoffy can actually get there pretty quickly and still have to knock up in pocket to cause a lot of chaos. So I think the strategic call from Leviathan was good, but they just didn't feel comfortable trying to walk into that position with no vision, which is the good strategic call, but it's the very boring call to watch. AC, where's my blood? Where's my fight? I was setting up the hyper fight for an objective and just nothing. Fizzles again.
The thing is, slowly but surely, Pain might not be getting kills, but they are definitely securing these objectives. They're already 2 dragons in, 13 minutes down.
Yep.
Their late game is approaching at a rapid pace, even though no kills are on the board yet, and the gold is dead even.
And it's not what their comp wants. So I guess the question is, does Soul potentially outstrip the scaling from an Azir, Sivir, Sion? And to be honest, I'm not confident that the scaling necessarily does. That said, you can't doubt Pain's team fighting. They were the best team fighting team in the league in Split 2. Even when they were losing to Fury, it wasn't necessarily in the team fight. So it feels like for Pain, they're just showing a lot of confidence, whether it be accurate or misplaced.
Well, I mean, until the team fights actually start occurring, we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
Because right now, like we said, game is dead even. Not one team has reclaimed a feat of strength yet because no towers have gone down. Not even a single kill has been declared 15 minutes into the game. And if we're looking at objectives, I mean, Leviathan's side has the grubs, Pain's side has the dragons, Herald's about to pop up as well. And that could be the first feat of strength coming in for Pain if they collect this Rift's Herald.
Yeah, we've had 0 feet of anything, really.
Yeah, no
kills, no
nothing's
turrets.
happening.
Yeah, and it just comes down to, okay, I guess the feat of monster slaying, right? Can Pain actually get that one as the Herald spawns? And that's going to come up in 10 seconds. So surely now we see a fight, right?
I mean,
Zothvid?
Unstoppable Onslaught's coming in. Titan's in the front line, but Zothvid does not push too far as to get the knock-up on Titan as the Herald does come up. Leviathan are in a better position to start contesting it. This could equalize the feats of strength here against Pain, but Pain in a very good position. They know Zothvid no longer has the ultimate. We have a teleport coming into the mid lane. Garioka does have his Nature's Grasp, but he needs a position. He needs a reason to win. There it goes, Nature's Grasp. House absolutely fumbles the Emperor's Divide. First kill comes down. They lose top lap. They lose the shield. That means Pain is completely unlocked to go on a rampage, securing 2 kills, and at a whim, they get the feat of strength with a 3-0 fight.
And just like that, both the feats picked up in the same fight, Pain able to get Herald to boot as well. And I've got massive questions for how that fight went down for Leviathan. We talked about how effective Braum can be to deal with bullet time. Yeah, top up was dead before bullet time went across.
He just absolutely disintegrated. And I feel like that was a mistimed fight by Leviathan because without the Sion ults, they lose a lot of unpredictability.
Yeah, and they were first to the objective, but I think this was the more egregious mistake. The Emperor's Divide divided by 0. It did absolutely nothing, and they just had no tools left. You can see Top Lop just melted to magic damage. Titan, even through the exhaust, was still able to do a lot of work. And now that Pain get those kills, that's when the snowball starts to get rolling. This is when it gets really, really iffy for the side of the Leviathan. And you can see that the fans, this is very mild, actually, from the Pain fans, considering how they like to celebrate. This is just how the game should be for them.
Fight into a fight, back-to-back. Roamer dealing a lot of damage. That was Top Lop and Scary around the corner as well, but House was left at under half HP just from a combo, just from an ability rotation here from Roamer. Now we have the rest of the Pain squad stacking up for the next dragon to come by. It's going to be the point that they need to get into Soul Point here, Pain. Still looking for kills, still looking for the control. They've put Leviathan completely on their back foot here.
Yeah, everything was so incredibly close. Now, a 2,000 gold difference at 17 minutes is not the end of the game. Certainly, teams can fight back. But Leviathan's composition is not the team that is going to be able to fight back. Roamer
good
diving
evening.
in. It's so
Roamer
easy.
Doesn't even leave any room to breathe. He just dives down House. Emperor's Divide be gone. Weiser wants a solo kill as well in Zorthve. But I don't think he's going to get it, as we do see the Herald collapsing in mid lane. Tower comes down in mid. And tier 2 is being threatened by Pain. Such a fast-paced change of game here.
And Scary now running for the hills as Roamer wants more. Not quite able to find the smite, just able to slow him. And look, AC, I know somebody promised you bloody games. Wasn't me. What I did promise you was that Pain was the best team in the league. And this is exactly why. The pressure across the map. 3 different plays. All lanes pressured at the exact same time. And Leviathan, they're crumbling right now. They don't know how to react. They're not sure how to move. And this is Pain's strength. For Leviathan, they kind of need to slow the pace of the game right back down. They still have scaling in their favor. It's a Cloud Soul, which is tough to deal with for mobility. But frankly, with the Sivir on your side, with the Sion, with the Azir, the speed shouldn't be as big an issue. We do get to see a bit of a replay. And for Roamer, he just knew, hey, I'm strong enough to go in. I have the fate bound. I can just snap back. I don't care even if Scary's there. I just pop you down and I'm back out. Blade of the Ruin King, boots, that's full build for Yone.
Pretty much, yeah. And on the flip side, Haas he was just sitting on top of a Gnash's Tooth. He just finalized the boots and he's still looking for his second item. He's way behind his build, being 50 CS down, plus 2 kills. Yeah, it's not faring good for the scaling mid laner that Leviathan we're looking for here on game 1. But the game's not over yet. There's still room for Pain to make mistakes. There's still room for Leviathan to actually lead them into making mistakes. One bad fight could turn the tide of this game. CEO could potentially bring out the Sivir in him, even though he's starting to get behind in terms of CS as well. Leviathan are just trying to go on a full turtle, but it's just not working out because Pain's pressure is just insurmountable right now.
Yeah, and we have seen Leviathan come back from massive deficits. In fact, most of their wins in Split 2 were them going down in the early to mid game with bigger goal deficits than 3K. So maybe Leviathan can kind of scrap their way back in. But keep in mind, this is a House and Top Lop Leviathan. They don't have Pro Delta anymore, who was a huge part of how they're coming back in. They don't have Cody in the mid lane, who is arguably the best mid laner in Split 1 and one of the better mid laners in Split 2 as well. And that's where we kind of get to really see House and Top Lop. Why were you picked up by Leviathan? Do you have what it takes? And right now, House, who we talked about, he was supposed to be advantaged a little bit into Roma, at least experience-wise. Well, he's kind of the biggest deficit right now. So that obviously didn't work out. Top Lop, where you at and what you got?
Man. Top Lop's trying to stay ahead of the pack here. Trying to combine with Scary to make a grand entrance as the Otacon is being already made. As soon as it spawned in, Pain were already on the objective. Leviathan don't want to let this fall without a fight, and so they go absolutely in.
Okay.
Chain
CC?
Onslaught. Chain CC gets the first kill on CEO. But the bullet time is way too deadly here from Pain. They're still fighting. Titan still freely taking out shots. Lothve is down for the count. Top Lop down for the count. His killing spree comes down for Titan. Looking for another one. Scary bites the bullet. Everyone is low, but Pain come out on top with Titan Karaoke scoring the ace and getting everything in their wake.
Not quite the penta we saw from Tatu, but a triple on Ace goes real far anyways. Pain able to win that one out after a bit of a rough start on Atakan as well. They weren't able to burn it down quite fast enough. They did take quite a bit of that debuff, but they were able to pull through and give props to Leviathan with how they engaged this, right? Especially what they did on Roamer. Roamer has been the biggest problem up to this point, and the chain CC they put down, the unstoppable onslaught into decimating smash, Roamer didn't get to do squat. He didn't even get to use his ultimate, but it did leave Titan untouched, and the bolt time comes across. Top Lop was not there to stop it, and from there, this is the Titan misfortune show, right? This is the experience you get with him. The way he doesn't even need a frontline, doesn't need a team. He uses misfortune like she's an Ezreal or something, you know, like she's just fine 1v5ing, and he lives. He gets all the damage out. And again, I want to highlight the fact, no peel throughout all of that. Titan's on his own. Karaoke's aggressive. Curry, aggressive. Roamer, dead. And Titan doing work.
Yeah, because most of that fight was focused around getting Roamer down, because they saw how much damage he was doing to House. They never saw how much damage Titan was doing, so they just ignored him for most of the fight, gave him all the space in the world, and look how happy he is with 5 kills in the bag.
Now
2 full items, looking at a third one.
Lord Dominic's regard as well. Yeah, sure. Sion does get real
Such a
tanky.
happy misfortune.
Yeah, but this misfortune for now will rip right through Zothvi like paper mache. Last outer turret remaining for Leviathan in this top lane right now. Roamer happy to sit up here and just pressure it, but Leviathan trying to answer. They're even committing a TP from House for this.
Roamer sniffs that something's afoot here, so he decides to just snap back into his soul, trying to get a fight with Sion, but his ult has already winded down, so gonna dodge that one as he spots Scary in House, trying to get funky on the top side. Still trying to clear the wave. He's going to save the tower for the time being while the rest of the squad is splitting mid and bot. It's Karaoke around bot lane with Wiser. Tier 2 being threatened, but the dragon coming up. That means soul point for Pain.
And I highlight too that Roamer has flash available, had flash available for that gang. So it was never really going to work. That's a lot of resources expended. And to a certain extent, Leviathan gets to get away with that because they have Sivir on their side. Because Io has that flash now has to be used to get out. But Roamer?
Does he want to get out? Roamer seems a little bit confused with his ability strikes, but he's trying to do something. He still manages to get away from an Emperor's Divide plus a stun from Braum. So that is praiseworthy in of itself with the amount of resources committed. His team is still doing bot lane dragon.
Yeah, and it does feel like Roamer's objective on the top side was to just burn time. I don't really understand why else he'd have played quite that aggressively without his ultimate. He also still does have teleport, so even though he burnt flash, even though he lost a lot of health, he can get right back up to it. And his job was done. He bought the time. That's Cloud's Soul going over to Pain Gaming at a fairly fast clip as well, pre-24 minutes. That means that Pain will be able to fight for Elder while they're still strong, before Leviathan are fully hitting their stride. And with that gold advantage, maybe that's what Pain was playing for this entire time. Go for that early Elder. Once you take that, the rest of the game's easy.
Early Elder, early Baron. That's probably on the cards as well, as the Baron spawning in within the next minute. 40 seconds in this case. And Leviathan don't even have the setup here on the map side to actually contest this Baron Nashor or even see how Pain are doing on the objective.
Yeah, the vision has been choked out wonderfully by Pain. Curry, one of the best at vision control in the entire league. In fact, leads vision score. So, yeah, it makes sense that they've been able to completely choke that out and just make sure that Leviathan, now you're walking to darkness. You've got a lot of means of engagement, but like we said, Zothvi kind of paper mache right now.
Yeah, and Karaoke is perfectly fine just face tanking all this incoming damage. He's already bulky enough. He's got 2 items under his belt. Yeah, sure, they're 2 magic items, but they have HP. He's strong enough.
It's fake. He's squishy.
He's got ninja tabbies or steel-toed plated cap thing. Ninja tabbies.
Okay, so he's got boots, will kick. And he will have quite a bit of damage with that little bit of kicking. His saplings as well going to do a lot of works. Like I said, I'm not a fan of the AP build, but when you're this strong at this point in the game, I understand it. And Leviathan, by the time they get in there, Baron might already be gone.
Yeah, but at the same time, if they force a fight here, Pain are going to find themselves absolutely debuffed. Roamer and Karaoke are still doing the Baron Asher. Down to 2,000 HP. It shouldn't be a steal. Karaoke left alone inside the pit. They're going to get a kill on Scary. Smiter down. Free Baron Asher for Pain. Fighting themselves in and out of the Baron all around the map as Pain demolished through Leviathan one by one.
Top Lop now just gonna melt there, and How is able to bait his way out. No, he gets caught by Karaoke.
Yep. into Titan for the absolute rampage on the Misfortune. 6-0-4. Haters be gone. Misfortune is online. And the mid tier 2 tower is solo golding into Titan's pockets. He is massive right now.
And once again, the multitasking from Pain is spot on, right? Like, even when they did Baron, they were fighting 2 fights while doing Baron at the same time. The moment Baron goes down, they're chasing down for more kills. They're going for mid. They're going for top. And now Roamer, he's got no flash. He's got no out. Can he get out this time?
Yes, he is 3 levels ahead, at
That's
least,
awesome.
of everyone in front of him. He's level 17, going for top lop up front. Nope, he turns
Oh
around.
my
Scary is the
goodness!
target. He's got the blades, he's got the styles, but he doesn't have the HP, and that is a massive shutdown for CL.
Tell you what else he got, AC. He's got the attention of Leviathan. 3 members up in the top lane, while meanwhile, Titan and Wise are getting free push on the bot side with the Baron buff to boot. So Pain at least able to make good on Roamer's overextension. It does slow down the push though, and they will lose another 30 seconds off that Baron buff while they have to kind of reset and wait for Roamer to respawn. So I think both teams are going to be okay with sort of the net results of that play, but we get to see the replay from the Baron, and this is what I'm talking about with the multitasking. I think Zoffy going within the unstoppable onslaught was actually a bit of a mistake, because the ultimate from Maokai just stops the rest of the team from following up, and then you can see how quickly Zoffy melts on his own. If the team can't follow up as well, now that the front line's gone, suddenly House, CEO, they don't feel comfortable to join the fight, and you can see they were just running away for the most part. Even House here, he didn't want to fight. House just wanted a recall.
Yeah, at that point, after the initial engage was in shambles, the idea was, okay, we're going to catch them all inside the pit. Problem was, Lev did not have any vision whatsoever. They only had Karyuk and Roamer committed to the Baron Nashor. So they did not expect everyone to be on the brush, ultimately losing the fight, scattering around, Pain dominating at this point in time. And we're just looking for a slow death here from Leviathan's side, because I don't feel like their carries are going to be able to do much. Sivir is online, yeah, but who's going to tank for her?
Yeah, and it feels like been the biggest problem. And for Leviathan, they just need that one good fight, AC. If they can find a win, they can salt the game, and they're scaling should kicking at some point. But at the 10k deficit, I don't know if they find that one team fight win they're even looking for. If you can't find that one, well, Pain are just going to run you over. Maokai out being used to zone them away from a turret, and with that, the inhibitor will be open.
Yep, it's wide open. Query in the backline already trying to lock down top lop. That's going to be the front liner dying to Wiser with the remaining burn of the Leandres. He goes down, dropping left to 4 players trying to defend mid lane against 5 very angry Pain players. Choking down on the inhibitor. They're going for the bot lane first, playing it by the book. Mid lane is also down for the count. Focus should be on top, but they're going to recall because Elder is knocking on the door.
Yeah, in 50 seconds, Pain wants to be there, and not just there and present, but they want to be set up. The saplings from Karaoke have been instrumental so far in stopping from Leviathan, not just seeing what's happening, but even reaching the objectives. The slows have been massive. The burn, look at that burn onto Scary. That's one sapling, and he's lost like 10% of his health, right? This has been after saplings have been nerfed repeatedly. And if Scary, who's one of the tankier members on the Leviathan team, probably the second tankiest member on that team, is melting that quickly, imagine what happens if CEO, if House has to eat that sapling on the way in. So now Pain, after the reset, you can see the sapling line being put down.
Yep, and that's what happens when you start to fabric or decide to fabricate a black lever for mages. It's exactly what happened. You already have burning items that can easily stack that black cleaver for mages. In this case, the Bloodletter's Curse. So you're just giving away free 25% reduction on that magic resist. Everybody goes to the back line.
Oh.
Curry knocks up 3. Emperor's Divide catches absolutely nobody as Wiser's just sitting back, burning everybody. Curry still scattering around Lev. And now it's just a matter of time for Pain to find the stragglers. Scary and Zotve, the last men, standing on a double kill for Titan. Scratch that, because we have an ace in our hands. Our Pain are killing everyone in front of them, looking for the game.
Forget the Elder. They've got the ace. They've got all 5 members standing, and they're going to go straight for the Nexus. Pain Gaming, we said it at the beginning of the day, AC. For Furia, for Pain Gaming, today is not just about wins, it's about proving themselves. And with that game, just over 30 minutes, I'd say Pain have proven that they've used the offseason well, and that they're still a top contender in the league.
Absolutely. They come in swinging. They were playing against a team comp that we had questions about. We thought they were going to be able to scale. We thought they had the safety with the Xin Zhao. But ultimately, up until the 15 minutes, it was just a stalemate. The teams were just facing off against each other time and time again, just stalling out stalling out objectives, stalling out fights until Pain decided to come online. And that's when everything changed for this game.
Yeah. Pain's still very, very good at knowing when to pick their moments and knowing how to accelerate the game once it happened. And props to Leviathan. I mean, that last fight looked really bad for them when they got completely wiped, when House couldn't find Titan. But I respect that. They threw the Hail Mary. They did whatever they could. Unfortunately, today, Mary ain't listening. And for going into game 2, I think Leviathan, they've learned their lesson a little bit. You can't just pick all scaling. And unfortunately, Scary on the Xin Zhao alone is not a good enough bridge. They need a winning lane somewhere, and going into game 2, they have side select. I'm hoping Leviathan, they can find a lane to somehow win out. Don't blind the Azir for House if you think House is going to be the one to win the lane. I don't think the bot lane is necessarily going to be the one to win it. So, yeah, like I'm still looking at House despite his poor game 1 performance.
I don't know. I felt like Lev had good arguments to actually take the dub in this first game. I just felt like Toplop didn't circulate the map enough. He wasn't loose. He didn't work enough with his jungler. You know what I mean? I feel like if him and Xin Zhao would have been together in more ganks, in more dynamic plays, it could have been different. They could have gotten advantages across the solo lanes, and it could have definitely made an argument for a win for Liv. But truth is, every time a fight occurred, they were the first ones to scatter.
Yeah, and you know what? On one hand, you can argue that this is the same problem Leviathan was already having, so it's not like Toplop made things worse. But on the other hand, it certainly didn't help make things better. But we've got a bit of a break, AC. Before we head into game 2, it is still a best of 3, so Leviathan can still come back, but they've got to win 2 in a row, and that I don't know if they have in them.
We're going to have to wait and see. We're going to short break. We'll catch you guys in like 5 or 10 minutes for game number 2 of this best of 3 series. We're back, ladies and gentlemen. Game number 1 is done. We're looking for game number 2 between Pain and Leviathan. I am AC, and joining me is a random minion caster, short for RMC, and we just had one heck of a game 1. RMC, how are we doing so far?
Well, call me HMC because I'm a happy minion caster right now with how that went for Pain Gaming. Was nice and clean, but to be fair, it is tempered, unfortunately, by what happened with Leviathan. Because, look, I want all the teams in LTA South to do well. And in Series 1, yes, we were 1-2-0, but we saw really good performances from FourY4 W7M. Here in Series 2, I can't quite say the same for Leviathan. Unfortunately, a lot of the same issues, it feels like, plagued them in Split 2. Are persisting here into Split 3. You were talking, AC, to me during the break about how, you were very disappointed with how Toplop and Scary weren't connecting.
Yeah, it did feel a little bit disappointing. We're talking about a Braum, we're talking about a Zinzao. They should bounce off of each other, but it just felt like, not even in terms of jungle and support synergy, just a whole map-wide synergy. It felt like each individual player was just playing their own game.
Yeah,
at least to me.
Yeah, no, I'm with you 100%. And the thing is that with your comp as well, you kind of get it, right? They want it to scale. So everybody just wants to sit in their lane and farm up CS. But that's not League of Legends, and that's certainly not the way it should be in the South. We were complaining 15 minutes, no kills. Yeah, normally we see a bit more action happen early on, and the fact that it didn't was already a benefit for Leviathan. But when the action kicked off, it still didn't feel like Lev was grouping together as a team, and now we are into picks and bans. Leviathan opting for blue side, so they do get first pick. It is full fearless, so I mean, there is some value in being able to get some of those priority picks when so many have already been played in game 1 and are taken off the table.
You can absolutely draft yourself into something flexible to kick it off, force Pain to blind pick something into the first 2 picks, and then you have a free counter pick. Wait for the second rotation of drafts, and you can decide where that flexibility goes. But the first pick here for Lev is definitely going to be that Vi. Was banned in the first match, skipped through for the second game here.
Yeah, and that is a bit of a scary special. It's one of his most comfortable champions that he used to play a lot of. And I like it for Scary specifically because this is a champion that you don't really care about your support roaming with you. You just go to lanes and you gank. But if you don't gank, then what is the point of this pick? So I'm hoping this signifies a sort of mental shift for Leviathan coming to game 2.
Ooh, if we're talking about a mental shift, Pain just absolutely pull all the punches, and there's your first free counter pick for Lev to pick up. And in this case, Pain say, oh, you banned our Orianna free ball delivery system. It's okay. We have a second chance here with the Galio in the mid lane. Obviously, Lev are going to have a kind of a field day, and you definitely want to pick something more AD into the mid lane and not something that plays into the Galio. But hey, let's continue to draft into AP champions here as the brand is hovered over. I doubt this is going to be locked in. Unless...
It would be shocking. But then again, like you said, I was already shocked that they picked the Ahri into the Galio. And I know Galio can flex to the top lane, but that's into Rumble. Rumble's already been played. So this is very, very likely to be a mid lane Galio, or I guess it could go support. I don't know if Curry actually plays it. He certainly hasn't before, though he has a massive champion pool.
In my experience, I mean, Galio's good in several lanes. You're absolutely right. I love him in the top lane. But realistically, mid lane is where he has access to all the lanes, where he can just step out of the mid lane, out of top or bot, and he's immediately in either lane or engaging with his jungler with his ultimate. But Pain drafting into a blind Jack's top lane. You already have the Kai'Sa. They do not care about the bot lane whatsoever.
No, and props to Ty and Curry. I think they've shown that they're flexible enough. There's still a lot of very powerful picks Ty can go with. His Caitlyn is incredibly oppressive in lane if he wants to roll with something like that. Lucian is another champion if you want sort of lane dominant picks. His Ezreal is the stuff of nightmares, and that can go really safe, and then he can allow the rest of the team to go diving in. The Xayah that's being banned away by Leviathan, very similar to the Ezreal as well. So I almost expect to see the Ezreal ban come through. If not, I'm not sure why. If you're banning the Xayah, you got to ban the Ezreal as well.
Yeah, if you will leave the Ezreal open, I mean, you have
Kai'Sa,
quite a bit of AoE in your team. If you get the Ezreal, if you get the Karma, that's going to be a very nasty lane to play against if you're Lev. But let's see, Cassante and Abessa getting taken out of Pain's side. They want to have Jax on the easiest lane possible to have him be the hyper carry that we already saw him be possible today with a pentakill to debut on the first series. But in this case, it was in the jungle, so that's one thing.
True. That is still a very high bar to live up to. And to be
It
fair to
is.
Liza, like that's Tatu. Tatu's just different. There's a reason why he's sort of the big up and comer in the scene, the new face here of the LTA South. The Nico actually being removed, AC. So Ezreal's still on the table, and yes, Kaisa is a bit of an Ezreal counter. But given the composition we're seeing already, I just don't feel like it's safe for Kaisa to go diving in against the Galio, against a Jackson, against what I can only assume is likely to be some sort of engaged support. After all, Nautilus is on the table, Leonis is on the table, the
Rel is on the
still
table.
on the table. Yeah, and Kaisa trying to dive into a Rel who's sitting back to peel.
Yeah.
That's just not something that's going to happen.
Yeah, no, Rel has been one of the most relevant supports when it comes to this roaming meta, especially in international competitions. She's been seeing, I think, 100% of the series. And she just does really, really well with a wide variety of AD carries. Because she can play the role of peel support. She can go all in as well. Very, very flexible as far as champions go. But definitely Leona could see the light of day here. Rakan is still open, even though Xayah is banned. He could still see some play as well. Because he does work really well independently from Xayah regardless.
Yeah, it looks like there was some sort of issue, a remake and draft or something, as we see all the players kind of settling back.
Did you see that man's match history? Poor guy.
You know what? Maybe the performance from Top Lob can be somewhat explained after seeing it.
It was right across the board. He needs a dub.
He's on the wrong team for it. He's on Leviathan, not Red Cannons. Come on, man.
Oh, well, but yes, we did have a little bit of an issue with the draft here. We'll be resuming shortly. We did have a couple of picks on the board. We still needed to decide a bot lane for Pain Gaming. And that bot lane could be coming in a lot of different shapes. Is Varus still open? I don't think Varus was banned, right? Varus was banned on the first rotation.
Yeah.
Yes. Varus was banned on the first rotation, so that's definitely out of the picture here. One of the strongest AD carries as well. Jhin is open.
Yeah, that's true. And again, it feels like there's just so many different options for Titan right now in terms of what he wants to go. We are seeing the players. We saw House, waving at the crowd a little bit. I think he's going to be glad to be back here in the LTA South Arena, in the Riot Arena. But yeah, game one was really, really rough for him. And I do think it's a little bit interesting, sort of the story or the talk that's going around with House, because Trajan is like the #1 House fan here on the broadcast, and he absolutely loves House. But even he's got to admit that House, for all his mechanical prowess, has been struggling. If we actually look at House's historical performances, he averages 5th or 6th, and it feels like regardless of league, even in Circuito Desafiante, the Tier 2 Brazilian side of things. Yeah, there we've got the graphic right there. Even on Kaboom IDL in Tier 2, he still finished 5th. His highest finish was back in 2022 Split 1 after he swapped from top lane into mid lane. And he had a fantastic split. And after that's 5th, 6th, 6th, 5th/6th, 7th, 5th again. And now on Leviathan, I've got to say, their odds of finishing high are not looking great so far.
I don't know.
I'm willing and hoping that House can change my mind here in game 2.
Listen, RMC, this is we only saw one game, okay? We saw a very, very dismantled team. They were not playing as a whole. It didn't feel like they were on the same page. Maybe there's growing pains among them. First few weeks are usually tumultuous, Now we're going to see game 2. Game 2 should be a different game, hopefully, allegedly. Okay, where we might see a completely different House. Maybe we'll get to see...
AC, you're telling me I shouldn't judge a player just off their most recent singular game?
I mean, should you? At least give him 2 games to be able to judge him.
Okay, we'll give him a series. So we'll have to kind of see how it goes in game 2. I will say, though, the draft has already made me a little bit worried for House, right? Okay. The fact that the Galio came through, and immediately I think you correctly identified, hey, it's a blind Galio. Let's run an AD.
Yeah.
And he slams...
The thing is, how many ADs do you actually viably have in the mid lane apart from Yone? Do you throw in a Yasuo? Do you throw in an AD carry? Do you throw in a bruiser from the top lane into the mid? You force your mid laner to play that? It's a very hard position to be in. Is Zed a viable pick in the mid lane? Is Talon a viable pick in the mid lane?
Yeah,
I mean,
Jace
Jace is good. You're
Well,
right. Jace is fine. Jace is fine. You're right.
Zed is viable. Zed is actually viable. We've seen Zed mid be a thing a couple of times. I think Jace was an option that you could potentially run into the mid lane as well.
Yeah.
If you're Tuts, you could have whipped out a Jhin or a Draven. Now House isn't, so probably
Ego
not so much.
Draven coming through.
Yeah, but even then, right? You could still pick maybe a skilling pick, something that could kind of just ignore that lane, just kind of go
Yeah.
even and have impact outside of the lane. Whereas when you pick Ahri, you're picking her for that early game strength that she has. The fact that she can dominate the lane with poke, with her ability to trade very, very effectively. She's got that wave clear and she can roam out. Guess what? All of that's answered and nullified by Galio, right? He ignores your magic trades. He will happily trade into if you try and auto attack him, he just as punches in your face, and then he just does more actual auto attack damage than you.
And he has just as
If
much
you-
wave clear.
Yeah, if not more. And then if you try and roam as Ahri, he presses R.
Exactly. So he can always stay ahead in terms of lane pressure. Even if you decide to shove, he can shove back super fast and join in with the R. Galio is just that complete of a champion. Now, truth is, he can be contested in the mid lane, you know,
Sure.
because he can be dragged back and he becomes just a flying nuisance for the most part. I am more concerned about this Jax into the top lane than I am about the Galio. Because that is a
and
wild card Jax.
Yep. And the Jax will be the carry, not the Galio, right? The Galio, if anything, will be there to support the Jax. And if anything happens, then that's when you get the hero's entrance to try and protect the Jax. And we saw the sort of Mbessa ban, as well as the Cassante ban come through to try and ensure a better laning phase for the Jax. So I fully agree with you. I'm very curious to see what Zothri brings to the table. And Zothri, unfortunately, has not been a player who... I don't think of him as a sort of a counter pick player. I don't think that giving him counter pick necessarily has the biggest impact in his matchup. So I'm very curious to see what his answer to the Jax is. Do you just try and outscale at that point? I mean, Camille is potentially on the table. Fiora exists, though Zothri hasn't touched it at the 10-foot pole.
I wouldn't go for neither, honestly. Up against the Jax, I'd pick something that can stack up against them. Maybe an Aatrox could be on the table here. Perhaps even a Renekton if you want to cycle the top lane like that. But we're back into the draft, exactly where we left it off. 2 bans on the table. Oh, Poppy! It's Poppy instead of Cassante.
I guess that was the bug that they wanted to switch out. Pain not getting the ban that they wanted. And I like the Poppy ban a lot more. I think Cassante is kind of a free scaling lane. Yeah, he wins out early, but we already talked about this. You've got the Galio, you've got the Nocturne. I'm not worried about a bad laning phase for the Jax whatsoever.
Nope. And if we're talking about the Ezreal, we need to talk about the Corki because their build paths are virtually the same. You go into the Trinity Force, you go into the Manamune, you have a full build pretty much. And Titan locks in that AD carry, leaving the support for the last pick. We see a hover of a Yumi.
No way, no shot. Not with a Kai'Sa.
Not with a game
Not with this
2.
build. Yeah.
All right, we talked about the Rel. Yeah, this is more than fair. The Rel is open, the Nautilus is open. You've spoken about the Nautilus extensively as well. But they opt to go into the champion that was initially banned by Pain, and they lock in the Cassante top, rounding up their composition with the Rel. Now, if the Rel is locked in, I struggle to see how they can output consistent damage here.
Yeah, I mean, regardless of what support you lock in, like unless you pick a brand here, I do agree. I don't see where the consistent damage is coming from. Okay, the Rel is probably the best option remaining. You don't want to give the Rel over to Pain Gaming. We talked about how Kai'Sa is going to struggle into it, and it's still just generally a really good support. There's a lot of melee champions on the side of Pain Gaming. Rel is going to mess all of them up. Great pickup. But I agree, just everything else. Where's your damage coming from? It's not Cassante. This is not Showmaker's Nightmare Cassante anymore. He's been nerfed through the ground in regards to that. Kai'Sa is really, really good, sure, but I don't see how Kai'Sa's playing into this many threats onto her when she's so short range. Corki as well being one of the AD carriers who can actually trade with Kai'Sa if he doesn't get outright blown up right from the get-go. And then Ahri is kind of burst-oriented too, into the Galio, as we mentioned already, even into the Jax. It's just not a big threat. And for Pain Gaming, we've got Rakan to round things out. That's great. Any support would have done. But even if you kill the Corki, Nocturne and Jax is still a threat. You've got 3 threats inside of Pain and only 2 for Leviathan.
I was going to say, Pain Gaming needs an Enchanter support around that their composition, either a Karma, Rakan, or maybe even a Lulu to actually give someone Ardent Sensor, increase their attack speed. Because imagine an Enchanter support with a Jax, with a Nocturne, with a Corki. That is a field day for any champion, for any support that can actually shield their teammates. Because you have 3 viable targets that you can actually enhance and boost up. I don't know. Leviathan, I think they drafted themselves into a bit of a corner here.
Definitely. And AC, I hear all your great, frankly, case for the Lulu for Curry, but I raise you. This is LTA South. What supports? The only time we ever see supports is pretty much with the Kalista, and that's just Renata or like Jinx, hyperscalers.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I mean,
one day we'll get those enchanters. You're completely right, though. I would have loved to see a Lulu there.
oh man, maybe one day we'll get it. But Pain right now looking for the 2-0 on their debut series of the third split of the LTA South. Leviathan looking for the draw here on the second match, but if the first game was an indication of anything, then Lev aren't looking too great here as a cohesive team, and they need a little bit of work on their macro as well. But let's see how they do inside the rifts.
And we are just about to dive in. My eyes, AC, for this game too. Originally, I was thinking House for the series for Leviathan, but with this buy pickup, with this drop they have, my eyes are now on Scary specifically for Leviathan. And Scary's an interesting guy. We've always thought that Scary was a good jungler and wanted to see more of him, but prior to this year, Scary was the firefighter. He was the vibes guy. Like Kaboom specifically would take him on, bring him into tier 1 when their team was absolutely a dumpster fire and no communication, things weren't working. You bring in Scary and somehow the vibes just get better and they start winning. Now on this team, he's not a sub anymore. He's the starter, but he's got to bring that sort of same, Scary firefighter vibes. He's got to fix all the problems. And with the Vi, I want to see him gank. If Leviathan are to win, it's probably off Scary getting the lanes snowballing, because on their own, I don't hold much hope of the lanes.
I don't know. How can you get the Ahri snowballing up against the Galio? How can you get CEO scaling up or snowballing up against the Corki and the Rakan? Because Corki just wants to farm. Dude, Corki is just going to be stacking CS on the back. He's not going to be wanting to engage full on until he has at least a Sheen or the Trinity Force, for that matter.
Well,
and Corki is just going to be stacking with Carioca.
Corki might not want to farm, or Corki might not want to fight, pardon me, but Titan will. I guarantee Titan and Korea are going to go in. So how does Vi do this? With a huge metal gauntlet.
He's gonna need to have some magic tricks down that big metal gauntlet if he wants to push through this game number 2. Toplop is playing the perfect champion to assist him, I'd have to say. So I fully expect to see early rotations from Lev as we kick off game number 2. Lev on the blue, Pain on the red. RMC, it's all or nothing here for Leviathan Gaming.
Yeah, and with the pick and play format, losing today is not the end of the world. If you lose this weekend, you do get to select your opponent for the next week. So that's not the end of the world. But with the format changes as well, seeding kind of does matter, because if you are on the top half, it's much more beneficial for you. And if you have first seed or top of, if you're just straight first seed, you get to pick your opponents as well in the elimination phase when things really do matter. So teams will want to win. For Lev, you don't want to fall too far down, and for Pain, you want to be that first seed going to eliminations. They did it last split. They were the first seeds, for most of their split, going into the playoffs or split 2. Pain was dominant, and they'll want to try and replicate that success.
Yeah, right now we do see that Scary getting spotted there by a deep ward placed by Pain. So right now, Pain have full understanding of where their jungle opponent is, and they can fight against it accordingly. Wiser on the top lane, we're not even going to mention that, as Wiser is absolutely demolishing the one-on-one matchup as an early game Jax out of all champions.
Well, level 1 Jax is actually one of the strongest champions in the top lane, because Counter-Strike just means you can't trade into him. So you'll often see Jaxes in the level 1, level 2 try and maximize their lead as best they can. And usually once the other top laner gets a couple of points down, you get to see this happen, where they're actually able to trade back and start winning out. Kasante's trade pattern especially is very short trade oriented. So he's running out of mana though.
He is running out of mana. Trade directly with Wiser. He's chunking him down slowly but surely. Grasping Undying guarantees that the same trade is good, as we do see Pain going all in against CEO, forcing the heal out of Toplop. And we look at the mid lane where Roamer is actually in trouble. Solo Bolo coming through for House, but he just wants that cannon minion to go back into base. Scary might be looking for a dive, but Carioca is absolutely on the prowl here. They're not going to engage, and he's not going to reveal himself as to not give away free information. That's really smart from Carioca.
Yeah, Carioca really embodying the spirit of Nocturne there, the terror in the darkness, and Scary never knew how close he was to being... well, okay, to be honest, he wasn't going to get killed by Carioca. Carioca wasn't going to win that fight, but...
He's going to give him a big spook.
True, yeah. Well, that'd be more Fiddlesticks than Nocturne, but yeah, Karoka just wants to farm for 6, man, and he's just there, as you pointed
Exactly.
out, to cover for Roamer. A lot of our early expectations already subverted, though. Titan, as we said, he's going to scrap, even though maybe Corki wants to farm a little bit more. We saw that, getting that aggro down really early. And in the mid lane, How's winning out that trade. That's huge for him. He needs a huge bounce back game. He needs to get that lead. If the Vi Ahri can get ahead, that combo has been very much preferred in competitive because of how quickly they can snowball and all the plays they can make. But it's contingent on them being ahead. And for House to be able to do that in the 1v1 bodes well. We don't think Ahri can kill the Galio just isolated, but with the help of a Vi, very doable. And if House is setting up like that, then it becomes hell yeah.
No, absolutely. And the fact is, Roamer still doesn't have any magic resist to his name yet, so I think it's natural that House on these earlier trades is going to come out ahead, especially if he lands a very, very good charm in this case to find Roamer out of position. We do still see Zoth trying to trade against Weiser. Trade goes a little bit better for him now that he has a chain vest under his name. Weiser's forced to back away and rethink how he wants to approach this lane. Maybe go back to farming. He's ahead by a few CS.
Yeah, and again, for the Jax, you're just kind of happy to farm up. With that particular matchup, though, again, we mentioned it before, it's the mana issue for the K'Sante. So keep an eye on the mana versus health. Weiser will happily trade health for Zothvi's mana, especially since they're both running Duran's shield. You regenerate the health a lot quicker, and he's got biscuits in pocket. Titan and Curry refuse to back down, even on a good trade early from CEO. Good poke onto Curry. Curry's just like, bet we're going back in anyways. And Titan's eating a lot of minion damage trying to trade up there.
Yeah, Weiser in the meantime is starting to lose trades up against Zothvit. As Chain Vest feels a little bit too overwhelming for the starting item of a Phage here. For Weiser's side, he wants to prioritize movement speed to disengage from trades. Dragon's up, and that looks like Roamer starting to scout out the perimeter for any vision. Scary is the first one on the scene. Looking for House for support, just clearing out the wave.
Roamer just dashing away there. Scary spot the entire time. And yeah, I do think it's right for Leviathan to go for that early dragon as soon as they can. They are stronger right now. Karyoka is still not level 6, and without that paranoia, Nocturne really feels like an incomplete champion. Yes. And that's why you always kind of see them rushing as fast as they can to just power farm. And Roamer with the Galio is kind of strong, but he did get shoved in early. He doesn't have prio in that lane, and most importantly, Hero's Entrance wants somebody to hop onto. And if your jungler's not there, if Weiser's getting shoved in right now, you don't have somebody to be that hero for. The hero's not the first one in. They're always the last one in, just in the nick of time.
Exactly. He needs an enabler. He needs someone to step in for him because, you know, he wants to have that spotlight on him. Karyoka looking for vision. The dragon's already over. Maybe he should be setting up for top lane, but he wants to take the neutral objectives and stay ahead in CS. The neutral objectives do help you stay ahead of the pack here when it comes to the jungle side, and having a bigger smite is usually better because you can get that damage in on that crucial little bit of damage on the objective. So up until level 6, which has just been achieved by Karyoka, we might start to see some interactions by Pain, but so far they like the status quo of just farming up and get their lanes ready for kerfuffle.
Yeah, that's a nice trade-off that Karyoka is going for, right? Get that level 6 and you don't have to walk to the top lane anymore. You can take the Flying Paranoia Express. So more than happy to focus on the bot side for now, clear things out, get that. Top side, both bot lanes or the 2v2s have opted to stay up in the top side for now, with the Grubs being the next major objective. Weiser and Zothvi don't quite have to teleport, so if they do end up fighting over Grubs in the immediate future, it will be a 4v4 at best.
Yeah. But we still don't see Toplop comboing it off a lot with Scary. He should be roaming with his jungler, maybe keep him safe. But I get, or at least try to go for invade. Since you do have that priority, I mean, Rel and Vi are a really, really strong combo. You should absolutely be abusing your enemy jungler's territory. That's not what's happening. Toplop, however, approaches the top side as he aggroes the Grubs, probably giving a little bit too much information over to Pain.
Yeah, and I think part of that is what you're talking about, because Toplop went in solo to get the vision down. He's going to eat a lot of damage. Walking back out, he doesn't have Scary to get his back. He doesn't have a numbers advantage. And though Leviathan get to Grubs first, though they set up vision better initially, it's going to be Pain walking after, clearing things out, and having the better control over the area.
Scary clearing it out, looking for a window to go in for cease and desist. Zothive, however, tides are turning in the bot lane. All out is available, but I doubt he wants to go in with that one. Just forced to back away. Teleport available. He might be looking for a teleport for the fight. As Lev are disengaging. It's a fight for vision at the time being, and for first blood eventually.
And the Grubs are just running back and forth. That's the second time they've actually reset their leash. Zoffy actually gets the full recall channeled, burning the TP immediately into the bot lane. So Leviathan kind of giving away these Grubs, or thinking that maybe they can handle the 4v4.
Do they think they can handle the 4v4? Because Weiser is ready and available to go for the teleport. They just choose to take the 2 Grubs. They get the stack, and that's all that they need, honestly. They leave the last one over to Lev, which is a least favorable consolation prize, but the status quo is achieved as Weiser teleports into the bot lane to maintain the lane against Zoffe.
And I guess this is how Pain Gaming are opting to play. We saw a little bit of this already in Split 2, but it feels like they've gone back to this very risk-adverse playstyle. Karioka actually flashing out of the pit to play it safe, rather than, like you said, having maybe Weiser TP up to the fight, maybe using the Paranoid to try and control vision, and then go for that 50-50 smite fight on the last Void Grub. Pain just went, now we got what we came here for. We got the 2 Grubs, as you said. We got the benefit of that buff, and we want Weiser to continue scaling instead. We are looking more at the late game, at the actual win con, than the immediate advantages we can get in the early game.
Exactly. And see how that turns out, as the second dragon will be spawning in the Rift as well soon enough. Trades keep on happening between Weiser and Zotfe, and at the end of the day, you have to ask which champion is going to benefit more, because one of them is going to continually scale damage and attack speed. The other is going to be a hyper tank that loses that tankiness with the ult. Did you see a gank in the mid lane? First blood comes through, and it is going to be Scary who takes a kill over on Titan.
Hey, but it is still first blood AC, and what'd you know? You've been calling for it. It feels like all series long. Top lop, roam with Scary. Easy kill. Who'd have thought? Zoffy going in onto Weiser.
Oh, all out onto Weiser. Nothing happens out of this as Weiser just jumps back, and now we go with the Paranoia. Ball delivery system not found, as Roamer is not on the scene at the time. Weiser still fighting. Top is left behind. Lev sacrificing for the greater good. Matchup is tied, but Roamer starting to give a little bit of a headache here to House.
And where are my question mark pings at? Because this is going to cost him a lot. Zoffy, he's not
this
getting
is going to cost him another kill. Nope, it's not. Weiser swaps aggro with Kuri. Kuri flashes away into Karioka, and they're fine. Nice disengage from Pain.
Beautiful dancing. They even bait the TP from House. House showing up in the bot lane. Nobody's there to cover mid lane. CEO now rushing to get there, and they don't have the numbers to contest the Dragon. So it's 2 kills into Dragon for Pain for free. And this AC is not the slow strangulation that we saw in Game 1 from Pain Gaming. This is the pressure being ramped up, and Leviathan slipping a little bit when the pressure's on.
Yeah, Roamer didn't actually stay top to actually take plates here. He decided to roam back mid in case CEO pushed in too hard. But he's more than ready to jump in with the hero's entrance. Goes in for top lot, making sure that he's not able to jump in a fight when CEO gets fully engaged on. Titan poking away.
Yeah, and Titan right now, every time he lands that Phosphorus Bomb, you can see he wins that trade right away. CEO trying to answer back, but without, that Kraken Slayer, without that first item, because it's not going to be a Kraken Slayer with the Rectrix inventory there, you just don't have that kill threat. We get a replay on how this happens, and to a very large extent, I do feel like this is Zoffy's fault. Right, Top Lop is there to shade you and cover you to get the push to get you back to safety. Instead, Zoffy kind of overextends a little bit, and Karioka is level 6, right? By this point, he's level 8 already. Your jungler knew that, and because of that, it costs him so much more. Zoffy doesn't even run all the way home.
No,
Scary walked all the way out.
No, I feel like Leviathan actually expected that fight to last a little bit longer, for Zoffy to be just a little bit tankier, but not the case. Teleport gone, full advantage over the Pain. Big power spikes coming through on their third backs. Now you have the Trinity Force on Weiser already. We're 13 minutes in, the Trinity Force is online. You already have the full Buy and Beyond Roamer. You already have the full Stride Breaker on Karioka. You almost have the full Trinity on Titan, who just had to go for a little detour for that tier, but all in good time. Right now, Titan's power spike, not really an issue.
Yeah, and actually speaking of power spikes, I guess Rectrix part of the Kraken Slayer build? Because CEO...
He is on the
maybe I forgot the build path. Yeah. Okay, I thought Rectrix was I guess they changed it.
You can go hybrid. You can still go. You can still go Nashor's Tooth and mostly focus on attack speed. This is still a viable on-hit build for CEO.
Yeah.
But shrug, limited, or different opinions. people like to play Kai'Sa differently. Now we do see Zothve up against 2, all out on top of Weiser. Could be a dangerous move here as K'Sante forces the flash into the flash. Weiser is safe. Karaoke forced to paranoia just to keep his top laner safe. And that could be a dangerous K'Sante starting to ramp up here.
Where did that come from? When they were even, Zothvi was struggling. Now Zothvi's down 2 kills, and he's out of nowhere just popping. Really well played from Zothvi to be able to punish Weiser on that particular trade, really taking advantage of the fact that I think Weiser's cooldowns were not available at that particular moment. But yeah, I want to go back to CEO a little bit, because yeah, the Kraken Slayer build, I actually do think is probably the right call in this situation, because they needed more consistent damage. And it still gives Kai'Sa that burst ability. So I'm a little bit more comfortable with how Lev's comp is going to run, but they are still falling behind, and that's the big concern for me. The sort of weather vane I'm looking at in this game is House and Scary. If House and Scary start to fall behind, then I think the game is completely lost for Leviathan. If it's just Zothvi falling behind, I can live with that. That's your tank, and Lev's comp is more based about damage and picking a single target right off the bat. If you can get that single pick, you can win the fights.
Yeah. Malignant's coming out as first item as well for House. Not that big bursty item you'd expect to see, but still a very, very decent item to keep House nice and mobile through the fights. So power spikes are starting to come through as well for Lev. Maybe one good fight can change the way that or the outlook for this game, because they definitely need that that motivational spike here. Something going well for them. As Ping keep on pushing.
They need it proactively as well. Lev's comp does not react well. So I want to see vision being laid down around objectives in order to try and facilitate a pick before the fight happens. And we're kind of seeing that a little bit. They didn't clear out the vision though, but it's far away enough that Pain are not aware this is being done. I actually don't know how I feel about that. I almost feel like Lev wants Pain to show up. And because Pain don't know, I guess they don't care. And instead they're going to play for the turret on the other side of the map.
And I think that makes perfect sense. They already have 2 out of 3 objectives. They got the first tower, so that's going to start stacking their feats of strength. They only need 1 kill as well to get the boot stacks. And I mean, it's just a matter of them deciding where they want to pull the trigger. Lev just have to keep, or forced to play responsively here.
A lot like game 1, actually, right? And we think back to how Pain waited like 20 minutes, and then after 20 minutes, it took them only 10 minutes to close out the game with all the leads that they were able to kind of accrue and just snowball from there. Pain now 16 minutes in, 1,500 gold lead. I was thinking 2,000, but it's bigger than what we were looking at last game already. So that's the terrifying part. That's the scary part. Now, where does Pain want to go with this? They did give up the Herald, and the Herald is a way for Lev to try and equalize the game if they can get some turrets under their belt.
That is absolutely true. But can they actually find the space to use that Herald is what we have to ask ourselves. Because we've already discussed how fast Pain can collapse on objectives. You just need Roamer to walk in with someone, or to go to Hero's Entrance with someone, just in Karaoke. To go in with a Paranoia, for example. And you have Roamer following suit. Yeah. And that can happen from like 5 screens away. You have no way to realistically respond to that. And the Herald is actually dropped in the mid lane for Lev here.
Yeah, and should be able to get the charge off as Pain is focused on the Dragon right now. Lev actually opting towards the Dragon. If they lose this fight, it would undo everything the Herald's doing for them right now.
Coming in for the Paranoia, are they going to pull the trigger? The answer so far is no. They want to defend the tower. It's super low. Lev decide to pull the trigger under the tower, and that shouldn't be an option for them. But House is now on the hunt for Weiser. Spirit Rush is available and used. 2 out of 3 stacks have come down, and here goes the Hero's Entrance. 2 knockups, 1 charm on the roll. And on the back line, you do have Zothve looking for Titan, but is he finding his mark? Not really, because that back line is absolutely stacked with
It's done, Weiser!
And Weiser is going ham on the back of Lev Esports as they decide to turn tail and run. Full disengage. House still tries to get something out of it, but the final math is 2 from Lev by 1 from Pain.
And honestly, AC, not the worst thing that could have happened to Lev. I thought things were going to go a lot rougher for them after how that fight kind of started. And look, I get where Lev was coming from. They see Weiser isolated. They know Paranoia is down. So the only thing that can come through is Hero's Entrance. But at the same time, the thing that will come through is Hero's Entrance. And because it came in, Zothvi and CEO were actually isolated. CEO having to burn the ultimate to get back to safety. And then they opt to re-engage again. And that to me was the biggest mistake. You already knew that you were losing the fight. Your damage from Leviathan and how you want to play your fights is very cooldown based. It's very rotation based.
Exactly.
So when your cooldowns are down, why are we looking for the re-engage into the likes of a Jax, into the likes of a Corki, a Nocturne, who are more than happy to stand there and do sustained damage that they only lost to at the end of it, I think, was already a bit of a silver lining, heck, even a bit of a win for Leviathan, considering the conditions they re-engaged under.
I mean, I'm still looking at Zothviz's entrance. I feel like that all out on the backline probably wasn't the best choice, especially because he didn't really isolate anybody, because he couldn't cross any walls whatsoever. So he just awkwardly sat without 80% of his magic resist and his armor in front of 4 people, trying to take down Titan. While in the meantime, look at bot lane, Roamer going 1v3. He wants to be the hero, but nobody's going to assist him. Ooh. Flash is not available, so that's going to be a free kill here for House, unless Roamer is able to survive. One more auto attack, but no, Haas finds him finally. A loaf of fresh air here for the mid lane of Leviathan.
Can I just highlight, AC, that Roamer's death ironically perfectly illustrates everything we were saying about why it's a counter to Ahri.
Yeah, it's such a grindy fight, man. Also, this Ahri is playing Mosquito Ahri. Looking at her build, she really has nothing else to fight from here to run away from Carioca. But Malignance into Lucidity Boots means that you don't even have the magic penetration to deal with current Roamer or unitemized Roamer. So much for future Roamer. Right now, he already has 2 items in his belt that are worth some sort of magic for this, with the Merc Treads plus the Bambi Sinner item. And there's no penetration coming out from House. So he's severely under equipped for the fights.
Yeah, he's got Shred, at least for House, but it's not that impactful, unfortunately, into Roamer, because even CEO is not going the magic damage build, right? You're going the on-hit build, which it does a bit more physical, I think, than magical damage to actually come through from the Kai'Sa.
It does.
It's a little bit rough to see, and that's why it took forever to kill Roamer with the Hollow Radiance, with the Merc Treads there, and Roamer is doing quite a bit of work. Not to mention, they get the kill, and then what happened after? We saw House instantly get run down by Carioca, and then now puts Carioca at Atakan. Scary wasn't ready or to respond to that play necessarily, and Pain get Atakan for free, and the snowball keeps going. Pain is more than happy to give up the occasional kill if it nets them a bigger advantage on the map somewhere else. That's how they've always played, and it's kind of perfectly into their game plan right now.
Exactly. And right now, it's up to Lev. We keep saying this. It's up to Lev to find the proactivity, to find the rotations on the map, but they just can't. They're way too scattered. Nope. They don't have any responses. Weiser's coming in from behind. Top Lop is absolutely locked down. Paranoia comes through just in case it's necessary. They have to go for the dive. Why not? You ask why not. They ask why so. The tower is nearly down. Paranoia comes through. The dive flops a little bit, but they got what they came for.
Fair enough, and unfortunately, neither Zothvi nor House are able to reciprocate. Zothvi had the push in the bot lane. There's a huge minion wave, that turret's low, but they have to back off because Pain is able to, again, just collapse faster. They're able to move a little bit quicker. There's TP available for Weiser as well if he really needs to rush down there. And Pain don't lose a turret on that play.
They don't. They needed that. They needed that turret gold. Lev definitely needed the little boost in income. It's not happening. Lev are being absolutely shut down on every opportunity, and they're just not getting tanky enough, fast enough to really deal with Pain's damage output right now.
And I'm looking at all these turrets they look so tasty for Lev in the side lanes right now. They already got the mid lane outer turret down, so it technically should open up your side lanes. And if Pain were to lose a fight, that 3k gold lead could evaporate very quickly to all this turret gold. But Pain just aren't losing fights. Leviathan, though, they do get to this dragon first. They melt it incredibly quickly. Pain are not even looking at it. And now Pain, this bot lane turret feels like bait. There's no Paranoia, no Hero's Entrance just yet, but there is TP available.
There's a TP coming through. In the front line, you do have Weiser forced to jump back. Everybody's locked in. The Magnet Storm.
He's still alive.
Weiser trying to get a stun. He's still healing, still breathing. Double kill comes through in the back from Carioca. Looking for the triple. You already have the Paranoia coming through.
He's all the way in.
He goes straight for the Mosquito. Ahri, here, knocked up and tossed around like a rag doll. As Carioca is on a rampage, the ace comes through. They lose Weiser, but it doesn't matter. It's a 5-for-1.
And we said Pain would trade a kill for an objective. But how about this? They will trade you an objective for 5 kills, for a clean ace, for a push-in, and an inner turret to boot. Pain blow their lead wide open, almost doubling it in a single fight. And Leviathan, tell you what, AC, we keep saying they need to be proactive. At this point, I don't know how it's gonna happen. It's got to come off a reactive play from a mistake from Pain Gaming. And like we said, this turret was bait. Wiser with the Sundered Sky just will not die. Look at his health bar. Tick up, right again. Dives in, ticks up, right again. And they have to commit so much to make that happen. The Paranoia from Karaoke was just icing on the cake. Great target selection onto the Ari. Spirit Rushes burnt. Flashes are burnt. And then CEO... It looks almost suicidal the way CEO just dived into all the carries up front, but he was dead either way. Like back there, he was just gonna get collapsed on anyways. So CEO was just trying to create what distance he could, do what little benefit he could find, and he didn't find a kill, but he tried at least.
Yeah, I feel like that play came out of almost desperation from Lev's side. They just caught Dragon.
Maybe,
They wanted to get the tower. They wanted to get the fight, but you'd be fine with taking a dragon away from Pain and taking the tower. That's extra gold without any downside for left side, but they want a little bit more, and that absolutely backfired. And now they're gonna have to deal with the fallout from it, because Pain are on a massive spike. You already have Titan setting up his third item. Like you said, you have Wiser on the Sundered Sky, just healing up on the backline and just being overall a nuisance. And from left side, there's no Grievous Wounds to stop anybody.
Sure. Yeah. You know, AC, random fact I learned from Geographic National, the bigger the animal, the less they tend to do. Because the opportunity cost is so high. They burn so much energy to move. And with a Leviathan, Leviathans are literally the biggest things you can think of. The opportunity costs have been really high this game. Every mistake they've made.
If you want to be theoretical, Pain is pretty big. Because big things feel pain. So that would make it big pain.
So big things feel more pain, therefore Leviathan facing pain equals massive pain. That's the equation here, the math?
Yes, more painer, more better.
I'm down for it.
No, but Lever definitely feeling the pain here. I mean, down, it doesn't seem like an insurmountable gold lead, or an unrecoverable gold lead at the 6,000 mark, but we have to look at the context of the game. Like, Pain are just dominating at every corner. They choose where the fights happen. And even if they don't choose, they can collapse super, super fast with teleports, with Paranoia, with the hero's entrance. Their composition is pretty tight-knit.
Definitely. The just global pressure they're able to put down has been huge. And they've shifted from being reactive to being proactive, right? We've seen the Paranoias come down to set things up. And what I absolutely love as well is the Paranoia not just coming from Karuka's ultimate, but from denying all the vision that Curry, that Titan, that even Roamer with his sweeper is able to put down. Again, look at this, right? The Baron is up. Leviathan can't see it. They tried to get a ward just in the area. And Pain are just like, oh, that's cute. We'll come in and wipe it all out. That's more gold in our pocket. And we are daring you to come in. Is Pain there? No, they're actually recalling. But Lev don't know that. They've got to be terrified just looking, just thinking about approaching that river.
Yeah, and they have to, like, Pain can just afford to go back, refresh their vision while Lever's still deciding whether or not they want to face check. You're absolutely right. This is a masterclass on how to macro with Pain Gaming, and Lev are just helpless to play into this game. They have to be a little bit, they can't do anything right now. They can't afford to be proactive on Leviathan's side. They just have to choose a right moment to maybe nab a kill or two from Pain, get a couple of shutdowns that would make it worth their while. I mean, if you look at Carioca, he does have a 655 bounty on his head. That's pretty tasty.
I mean, it ain't the pentakill that Tatu had, but 4-0-5 is still an incredible scoreline. Top lop.
By Scary. Scary does get caught inside the taunt by Roamer, but they were able to disengage completely top lop, getting a little bit of confidence now that he has vision over Pain. So he decides to step up and maybe try to get something out of this. As you see into the bot lane, if you look at the bottom left corner, Jax is just willy-nilly pushing into the inhibitor, and he could even potentially take this inhibitor if he wanted to, but he's just opening up space for the rest of the squad to focus up on top side. Because there's just no vision. Right now, the visions are kind of reset, or the vision overall is kind of reset. River is pretty dark for Pain Gaming. But you do have another dragon on the field. They might swap the dragon for this Baron pressure for now.
Yeah, and for Pain, their vision, they just need enough vision to know that Lev is not sneaking Baron. That's it. Beyond that, they do not care. They are willing to walk into them. I say, as Curry loses half his health, doing just that. Now, the other thing that they were doing with Wiser in the bot lane as well, you push out that lane, and even if you don't get the inhibitor, you can collapse back on the dragon. if Lev don't apply the pressure that we're seeing right now and play so invasively, if you will, Pain would just have Wiser on Dragon. In fact, they're actually paying for it with the rest of the team, and Roamer just has to buy time up top.
They're going to all in Roamer, or at least try to. Wasted a couple of abilities. They'll wide. In the meantime, Wiser is soloing Dragon, like you said. Lever trying to make a decision here. Do they want to go for the fight? They do have a charm on Curry, but even Curry is a little bit too tanky for the damage output the house has right now. They're slowly but surely recovering their vision territory. Roamer applying a ton of pressure, forcing the Spirit Rush out of house. And that's going to be a massive cooldown to not have from left side.
To be fair, Malignance makes it a really short cooldown, so
it does.
For if Pain wants to abuse it, they've got to go now, and that's why we're seeing so many pings come down onto Baron. The vision line is set up for Pain. They can try and look for a pick, and if they are able to pick House during this very small window, that's a lot of the threat that Leviathan have taken away. That charm is actually massive. Paranoia coming down. They're looking for it.
Then Titan's in the front line there. He goes straight into the back, looking for Scary. Take down the Smiter if they can. Pain are all over that back line of Lev, and they're just doing nothing but run back. No Spirit Rush means no disengage coming down from House. He has to wait a little bit longer. It's halfway through, but Pain have already established their dominance. They take no one down, but they absolutely path the way to Baron.
Zothie finally gets the recall, has the teleport available in order to go. Titan turns around and almost melts top lop.
Oh boy, they're still going. They're still fighting. Harris is forced to flash. Spirit Rush right about to leave cooldown, but that might be a little too late as Zothie in the front line. No all out means that he's going full tank. Pain without cooldowns. I think they're going to recall and wait for the next fight.
Yeah, a lot of resources burnt by Lev to try and force off Pain. They don't find a kill, but they are forcing Pain to look for the reset, and that might give them a chance at Baron Charmland.
Oh, assault down on Curry.
No shot.
Wasted a lot of cooldowns, but Curry is still fine and dandy. Karaoke in the front line with Roamer and Wiser from the bot, trying to get something out of this. They steal the red buff, and Lev walk out of this unscathed.
Yeah, you take that as up. That's an absolute win. Wiser has teleport, but he's stuck in the mid lane. He wasn't the one to reset. Now, Lev can't get Baron, but they did actually clear out quite a bit of vision. Not off of this, unfortunately. Lev, they don't. So here's the problem with Lev right now is now they don't have enough damage to actually melt Baron that quickly because CEO is the only thing. And yeah, sure, CEO's got a lot of damage and, you know, has the on-hit build, which is great for melting Baron. But the threat of Wiser and Karaoke being anywhere in the area means that they don't have safety to actually take that Baron. Even if you trade 1 for 2, if CEO is down, Titan, Wiser will happily clean up the rest of the fight, and Scary and House just can't actually take the Baron safely or quickly enough.
Yep. I'm looking at CEO's build. He's going full AP after the Kraken Slayer, actually, which is an interesting approach considering Galio on one hand. But on the other hand, the whole the overall dynamic of the team. Pain still respectfully playing this. They don't want to rush any objectives. They want to make sure that what they get it in a stance where they can afford to actually push afterwards. But now we do have Wiser getting caught off. Ha's already forced to use the Spirit Rush, trying to go back in. Karaoke in the front line, eating that missile with a spell shield, and now pathing towards Baron. Once again, the Baron dance continues.
And this is why I actually like the Void Staff from CEO's build. It feels a little bit random, but the idea is that Lev is not going to win a straight-up fight. Or they shouldn't win a straight-up fight up against 5k against that composition. And Kaisa... You know, I realized as I said it, like, this is exactly what happened to the Grand Finals. I spoke too highly of Pain, so I got to tamper it back. But no, I'm praising CEO here for his build path. The Void Staff, the idea is you're poking with Void Seeker so that you don't have to straight up fight. And then you just kind of, you know, weaken them. Because for all that Pain have a really strong brawly front line, they're not very tanky. And that damage really does stick. They don't have a lot of healing either on their composition. So good adaptation from CEO. Hasn't quite proven its worth just yet, but we've also not really seen the Baron dance start up in earnest either.
No. We speaking of healing, we actually have the not lore. I was thinking of Mortal Reminder, but no, we don't have Mortal Reminder coming out of Titan. We do see the Lord Dominic's regards to deal with Zothve, who has been constantly in the face of Titan. To some success, I would say. He's always forcing... it's true. He's always forcing Titan to be away from the fight, not actually have the space that he needs to dish out the damage that he wants.
Yeah. It's working on a strategic level, but tactically, Zothve's 3 deaths do It's part of why there's a 60 gold lead on the side of Pain. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, absolutely true. 5,000 gold lead here on Pain's side, still dancing for the Baron with the Dragon coming in. This is soul point for Pain. At this point in time, they've collected 3 dragons. And wait, I actually realized this is a second Cloud Soul coming in.
Yeah. In a row.
Yeah.
And the mobility, the movement speed actually does matter a lot. We've now seen multiple times where Lev has not been able to chase down and actually secure the kills onto Pain. And Curry especially has been wonderful, masterful with the way he's been dancing in and out of these fights. He's been flirting with danger. He hasn't died a single time, actually, which is nutty when you consider the amount of CC that Scary and House and Toplop bring to the table.
And the highest kill participation of the team so far, nearly 100%, only 1 kill off. Scary actually starts to Baron Nashor. This is a risky play from Lev. Not because they're going to commit. I fully understand that they're not going to commit to this objective, but they're being debuffed.
Yeah, and Pain love this. They're looking for the engage on their own end. House threatening the flank, and here we go, Korean.
Here you go. In goes with the paranoia, forcing the flash away from Scary out of the pit. He's nowhere near. He's under a quarter of his HP as Wiser tries to range in closer and closer. Karaoke does not let the Baron reset, and they're looking for the smiter. They're looking for Scary. They don't want to continue this Baron. Are they willing to let it reset? Yes, they are. They're letting the Baron reset for the fight, and they're going straight for Zothvi. Looking for the fight. They find the kill. It's Titan who's unstoppable here with the Corki and a tactical ball coming through that did not like that frag.
I do not like how the entire fight went right there, AC. The funniest thing to me is there are 3 control wards from Pain in the Baron pit, and they had none around it. So Scary gets out, and there's no kill onto Scary, and Pain, they can't follow up. That should have been a thank you for the leash on Pain's part.
Yes.
But because they didn't have eyes on Scary throughout all of that, they didn't dare to actually go in and finish that, and they let the leash kind of reset. Now, getting Zothvi down is huge because that was the big tank. Without Zothvi, now Lev, they can't stick in the area, and they have a very small window to try and get in there and either steal away with the Baron's fight or try and pick a fight on the squishier targets, try and take out Titan, take out Wiser.
Yeah, I don't feel like they want to re-engage this fight, even though they're in a numerical advantage. Seeing how Pain has been playing throughout this series, I feel like it's one of those, okay, we got a good kill. Let's cash back what we just earned and come back stronger because Soul is on the field as well. And I feel like this barrenness is going to extend across the river to go into that dragon and then back to back to Baron.
It's just so iffy though if they don't, because with Baron, suddenly CEO can't clear the waves, House can't clear the waves, the empowered minions are just going to march right in. So for Lev, damned if you do, damned if you don't. They're going for the Hail Mary though, AC.
All right. 5 members on Baron. You do have Scary across the room trying to get a smite locked in. He just needs a Q to jump in the pit. Pain are not letting go. They're not resetting. They're just slowing it down, Carrie. You okay? Just making sure that the Baron stays low. He turns down the lights. Nobody can see anything. Jumps in. Smite comes down. Just misses, but it's okay. Pain still take it, and they secure a kill on Toplop as a compensation as well. How was that?
Okay. So, that was a choice. And at the beginning of the game, AC, they showed a graphic at the bottom about Unsealed Spellbook. So we didn't talk about it then. I will talk about it now. It's the nerf to Unsealed Spellbook's Smite.
Yes.
Instead of 1,200, which was the same as what junglers carry, they nerfed it to 900. So Toplop was really, truly praying that that would work. He had less damage than Karaoke on that smite, but they left him there to do that. And if I'm Leviathan, I don't know. I feel like you leave Scary in there. Go for both. Go for broke, you know?
Exactly. I mean, to be fair, he nearly secured the Baron there for Lev, considering that it was Titan that collected it and not Karaoke, but now with the Elder Dragon, with the Baron Nashor, it does feel like Pain are starting the death march to the base of Leviathan.
Yeah, Leviathan has done a fantastic job so far, just kind of stalling out the game. 36-40 is the longest game we've seen today so far. And for Pain Gaming, they've got yet to take all of those inner turrets, much less the inhibitor turrets to come through. And if Pain was to overextend, it would come on a push. If they dive incorrectly, they could still be punished. But from what we've seen from Pain so far, they're playing very conservatively. I don't see them throwing the game, at least not on a lane push like this.
No, I don't think they're in a position that they can throw in the game. I mean, considering how fast they can rotate, considering how fast like the hero's entrance can drop down on anyone that can get caught off. I mean, I'm looking at Curry. Curry is the wildest player I've seen on Pain so far. He doesn't mind going face first into the back line of Lev. But if something goes wrong. He gets caught in a cross charm. Immediately, there's 2 players that can jump in on him, and the rest will follow suit. So, I don't think there's a bad position for Pain to be in, not with these 2 massive objectives on them.
There's some teams here in the LTA South where, with words like that, AC, I would just say challenge accepted. Some of these teams have thrown harder, but again, Pain is
Show me. I want to see it. Give it to me.
Oh man, some of the red games back in 2023 and 2024 split one, they came back from some insane games with open nexuses and still found it. But yeah, Pain turning off the lights again. Karaoke has been using the paranoia, not necessarily for engage, but a lot for utility, just to deny away Lev. And you can see the lights went out, Lev walks away, they lose half that turret. And now Titan's going to take the other half. Actually, a fight breaking out mid.
Fight breaking out mid. They go for the dive. They take down the turret. Weiser was there the whole time. They get the double stun through. All out is over. Lop is in trouble. Top Lop is alive, but look at that.
Is that the throw?
The opening. It is the throw. Karaoke flashes over the wall. House Spirit rushes after them. 3 members down from Pain. They bit more than what they could chew.
Behind.
And Titan and Karaoke are turning tail and running for anything that they can.
Titan!
Will they be able to? Titan solo boloing CEO. Gonna be happy. He got it. Is he going for game? He doesn't get run. He's being collapsed by everyone. He no longer has the Baron empowered recall, and he's gonna be forced to fight. A wave of 3 caster minions comes in, walks into a bar. Scary says, knock, knock, and scares him away back to base. Titan completes the Infinity Edge, but the damage is done.
Well, AC, do I have a game for you? 2025 split 3.
Did I just do that? Did I make that happen? I feel like I made that happen.
See, that's the problem praising the team too much. We praise Pain too high, and they did manage to throw. Now, the gold lead did actually shrink significantly. I know 6,000 doesn't look like it, but they were 10,000 gold lead at one point. I do want to highlight throughout all that chaos, though, Karaoke still finds the kill onto House on the back end of it, trading his life for a kill in a 1v2 situation. Titan still finds the kill onto CEO. You highlighted the Infinity Edge completion. I want to highlight the GA completion on Titan, because now he actually might win those situations. And the fight starts not bad from Pain. Weiser knows his Zhonya's, can afford to tank that up. The problem is sort of the follow-up that happens. And the fact that for Pain, they opt to go 4v5 into this. Titan is not here. Titan's up top and still trying to finish off that turret. I think he could have left that to minions. If Titan was there, the fight turns in their favor. But because he's not, Curry dies for the first time this game. Roamer gets melted. And then this was the fight happening off screen. We didn't get to see Karaoke in a 1v2, even with the TP coming out. Just runs down House. And there's the lack of damage for you. No CEO, no advantage. And then CEO died to Titan, as we did see on screen the first time.
I mean, still 2 inhibitor towers being taken out was a nice trade-off, I would say, for Pain. Pain, there's an item named after this. This is pure hoopers from Pain, honestly.
Yes, indeed. There's more than one item. I feel like this could arguably be Leandri's Torment, or a bit of Malignance, to be honest, the way they threw that one. It does mean, though, as you've already pointed out, the inhibitor turrets being down means there's less places for Pain to throw. There's only Baron Pit, Elder Dragon, under the Nexus, and one more inhibitor turret bot. Actually, never mind, I take that back. That's about the same because of the Baron and Elder.
I mean, Top Lop getting caught off, maybe, perhaps. Nope, no CC lands, but there's a lot of damage being thrown out by Titan. He's got a lot of weight behind those punches, and look at that. Coming in with the ult, Vi tries to buy some time, but the lights go out, nobody's home. Pain completely re-engage out of this one and forced left to scatter all over the map, with a double kill falling in favor of Titan, looking for the triple on Zoltve, flashes over the wall, Roamer tries to get the taunt, not quite getting it. And now it's a matter of trying to keep Zoltve away from the base, trying to cancel out recalls, wasting their time as Weiser starts to push in the Nexus turrets. Pain looks for the clean 2-0. I think it's already there. Roamer solo bolo Zoltve on the Cassandra as the Nexus towers explode. Pain teleport in. They're trying to fish Leviathans out of the well, but the Nexus goes boom and Pain secure clean 2-0.
You know what, AC? It's not the cleanest 2-0, but it is still nevertheless clean enough. And they did not drop the game. They still show they're strong. True. Yep. Nobody needs to look at how they got there. And Leviathan, they were scrappy. I like what they showed us towards the end of game 2. It just felt like it took way too long for them to really start to come online to get their engines revved. And meanwhile, Top Lop. I feel bad for Top Lop. He doesn't know what's happening right now, the order of things, but they figure it out.
Yep, things are happening. Absolutely, a little bit of a confusion there on stage, but ultimately, Pain Gaming walk out with a 2-0 against a team that felt like they had ideas, but ultimately floundered when they had to be proactive.
Yeah, and unfortunately, like we said, this is something that we've seen from Leviathan. I think any sort of signs of life from them and proactivity and fight that we start seeing towards the end is sort of an improvement. But there is so much more ground for them to kind of traverse to really become competitive and to really challenge for the top. And you know what? I hope Top Lop and House, it's their first game back in for them. They weren't part of the group that got to go to LA to scrim in the offseason. And their roster was kind of a bit of a later roster to come together. So you know what? They need some time, and this game hopefully is not indicative of them. I'm looking at Pain a little bit, though. I'm a little bit worried that they're slipping. Game 2 got a little bit messy at times. That throw came in kind of late. But you know what? That's fair. They, I think, lived up to where they kind of finished last split. Not quite as clean as Furia, so we won't call them number one just yet, but still a very, very strong team and one that doesn't give you a lot of opportunities to make comebacks.
No, and I feel like Leviathan still have good arguments to make. Their players individually were solid. I do feel like the Cassante was a solid match, and I feel like overall, Zotvet could pull some good punches, and he was creating chaos in the backline. It just felt like there wasn't enough unity in their numbers. They were always collapsing with less players than that Pain were throwing at them. Their ideas were always based on 1 or 2 players instead of the whole team. So macro-wise, there's still a lot of room for improvement here for Leviathan side, which is a good thing. It's better than to have no promise whatsoever and just rolling over and seeing the game getting passed by you.
True, fair enough. I mean, you want to at least have signs of lives, but that's kind of day 1 in the books, and we kind of expected the results of 2-0. We still have games tomorrow, and tomorrow will be the more interesting game. So we have Isris Estro going up against Red Canids and VKS going up against Loud with some big roster moves coming in for all of those teams. Just a reminder as well, folks, after the games tomorrow, do stick around because the teams will be picking their opponents. So today, FourY4 W7M and Leviathan lost, which means they get to select their opponents for next week, and the losers of tomorrow's games will get to do that as well.
Exactly. But that is going to be for tomorrow. Today, just to recap, we had the first match. It was Pain, or not Pain in this case. Wow. FourY4 versus Fluxo, where FourY4 took a 2-0 win against Fluxo. Right now, we just saw a massive win of Pain against Leviathan by 2-0. So is this any indicative of what's to come? Perhaps Leviathan have a lot of room for improvement. We've seen it happen, and we're expecting this improvement to come because we've seen him beyond the top of the table on splits past.
Yeah, split 1. They were second place, right behind Isris Estro.
Exactly. But that said, do we have an interview? We do not have an interview, do we?
No.
We don't have interviews. Unfortunately, we don't. That means the only thing left is for us to wrap up the show. Isn't that right, RandomMinionCaster?
It is. So thank you all for tuning in. Again, we'll be back again tomorrow, same time, same place, but we won't leave you without anything to do as the LTA North is starting up. So we'll be sending all of y'all over there as well. And they'll be starting up hopefully shortly, I think about half an hour or so.
Exactly. So from my part, from RMC and everyone behind the cameras, thank you so much for keeping us company throughout this first day of LTA South. Have a wonderful evening. Good games. And we'll see you guys tomorrow.
Just like a razor, murked up in this world, my place. I got all the boys on me, I got all the lines on ring.